Morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. It's Monday, the 22nd day of August, 2022, and we're very pleased to be here with you from the Best 100 FM studio in Kingston, Jamaica. Good morning to those who have joined us on air and online. Delroy Henry, I know it's what? Midday in England?
It is.
Just about, I guess.
6 hours ahead of us, yes.
So he's
It's in the
chatting to
afternoon,
us early already.
as
And
per
we thank you
usual.
for the reminder that prayers don't have to be long and eloquent. They need only come from a sincere and humble heart. Isn't that beautiful?
It
Morning,
is so. Good
Percival.
morning, Delroy. How are you today? That is so. It reminds us of that Pharisee went in to pray, and he was telling God about how great and good he was. And this little man, as we'd say in Jamaica, just come in, just lick him hand on him chest and say, Father, forgive me. He's a sinner. And Jesus was sharing this parable about our prayers, and he says, guys, who do you think my father heard? And them say, we do not know. But they really did know, in terms of our prayers that go up every day. Good morning to all of those who are listening out there. Somebody calls it Radio Land. Well, Delroy is in social media land because he's on, it's Facebook. It's Facebook that he's on.
YouTube.
YouTube, Facebook, all those Twitters.
It's all one and the same to you.
Yes, all of them things. But this morning, I remind us, even as the song before was saying, as I trot through the land, just remember that God says, according to Isaiah 41 and verse 10, I'll never leave you, I'll never forsake you. I'm always going to be with you. And if we have that as a reference point today, as we begin the week, as we head towards the end of August, and on Saturday, if you were out, the bookstores were filled to capacity. The shoe store were filled to capacity, and the books were flying off the shelves. They were flying off the shelves. People coming out with their bags of books or shoes, and the kids were all a smiles. Yes, and getting ready to go back to school. And even as we go back to school, just be reminded that God says, He'll never leave us, He'll never forsake us. And I just declare across the length and breadth of Jamaica that God our Father is Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides. I know there's stress on a lot of parents this morning, but be reminded there is that ram in the ticket that is waiting to help you, because God has heard your prayers this morning. So look up, for your help is coming, and it is drawing close to you. So good morning. I really am upbeat today. I have a full week, but I give God thanks for the opportunity and the privilege of just serving people. I count it a privilege when I get the opportunity just to share with persons and just to encourage them and just to lift up their spirits this morning. Same that I do to you, my friend, my beloved friend. And if you could see her face in the studio this morning. You good?
What's going on with my face?
Oh, she's
Having a stroke?
No, you're not. You're not having a stroke. You just have this beautiful smile on your face.
Oh,
if you
okay.
could see it, my friends. And then she has this expression that some of the time she gives me, where's he going with this? I know the expression.
You've been married for a long time. You should know the expression. You should be able to feel it.
Oh, some of the
You don't
time.
even have to look. You should be able to
Some of
feel
the
it.
times I miss it, sister, but that's all right. Just some of the times I miss it,
Nah,
but
some of the times you just power through. Don't let nobody stop you. No,
yeah.
but when you said ramming the ticket, it's an expression that I just absolutely love. It's one of those expressions. It's like camels on the horizon.
Okay, yes.
It says so much about being in the right place having that heart of obedience and sacrifice, you will not see the ram in the thicket unless you
Step
have
out.
presented yourself
That's sacrifice.
and you are in the right place. The place, as it turns out, was Mount Moriah.
Yes.
I was born in the right
Yeah,
place. Some people might say, I am the ram in the thicket.
Oh, you are? No,
Some might
you are
say,
the ram.
well, I was in
Or
the
the
right
she-goat
place.
in the ticket. But this
Yeah,
morning,
the ram
welcome
in
up
the
to the break. Yes, it's our 6:30 break this morning.
I saw Eden's hand in the air. I suspect she was telling us it's time for the break.
Yes.
Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Best 100.
People, are you listening?
If you choose to remain at home after an evacuation order has been issued, you do so at your own risk.
Get down, get down. Heed the warning.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, away, I do I take taxi star?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, at 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, senior.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
I try calling, cause trust me.
Winters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town.
The best taxi service.
They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
Need a cab from anywhere at all. You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales, shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats. Best FM.
Well, welcome back. We're really very pleased to be here this morning. Pastor open to all the activities happening as people are gearing up to go back to school. And he used the expression, the ram in the thicket, which many of you probably already know. But for those who may not have heard it, I think it's worth just understanding what's important about being able to spot that ram in the thicket. It is taken from the story of, or the account of Isaac being offered up by Abraham when God called on Abraham to give him the son that he loved. This is a foreshadowing, of course, of Christ's own sacrificial death, because in the account of it, we have to recognize that God was calling on this one man to do exactly what God himself was prepared to do and had already done, it being so prophetic. At the moment when Abraham is standing over Isaac, his child, who is presented on the altar, bound, ready to be sacrificed, as he lifts his hand to strike the blow, God halts him in the process, knowing and recognizing that clearly Abraham was prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice, give back to God the thing he had desired for such a long time, and which came to him late in life. So many of us have the same experience of desiring something for years and years, working towards it, believing in a promise. And then when it is fulfilled, you find that you may have to do something that breaks the heart. And in that moment, when you take the decision to give it back to God who gave it to you, the ram in the thicket. Because so it was told that even to Isaac's own question, Abraham had said the Lord will provide.
And he wasn't kidding.
And Jehovah Jireh proved himself.
Yeah.
He did, in fact, provide a ram in the thicket. What's important about it is that for you to even see the ram, you have to step to that point of absolute surrender and
Trust and
submission.
faith. Yeah, man.
Exercising, Pastor is saying, trust and faith that
Confident.
God is indeed the one who can make the impossible happen for you. And this is a season in which we are calling on Him for the impossible because we are not seeing any clear path within human experience and capability.
That's going to move us forward.
That's going to move us to that desirable place.
Yeah.
Everything seemed to be galloping downhill. You know, the stories that start the morning now on the front page, everything is about education. And it makes sense because we're approaching September morning. When you talk about the books flying off the shelves and parents, let me tell you, the parents are not the ones dropping the ball. Let me just put it that way, because in this season of almost nothing in our hands, all of us are still planning and trying. And that's why it's such a great tragedy when you have a fire in a community that would destroy the things that some families had begun to put aside for their children. Or when, as happened with STEM Uprising, you bring in 888 school bags and 400 of them are stolen while they are in government care. Because if it's still at the port, if it is still awaiting the payment of duties and so on, it's in government care.
That is a scandal.
It is a terrible. Let me tell you. So my niece went about their level of this elite force of customs officers and the service and so on. Shame, shame, shame. The only reason things are delayed at the port is so the government can get its due. So while it's there, you must take care of it. And you cannot tell people that you don't have anything to do with that.
Because then how people get access? People have to understand how, because remember the things come, you don't know what is in it. You don't know what is in it. As somebody who has gone to clear goods, whatever, barrel, whatever. And it is in their, what they call it?
Custody.
Yes, it's in their custody.
Yeah, because it's supposed to remain sealed until they open it.
Yeah.
So that people don't take out or put in or whatever. But I even think she found this out on her own when it was delivered to her. So it's not as if customs looking at it say, oh, but this should have 888 bags. We're only seeing 400 and flag it and maybe cause an investigation. No, she finds it out when she gets it.
Yeah.
So customs don't care that it should be 888 and it's only 400. Shouldn't they at least feel that they were robbed then? Because
of the customs,
400 would have been on customs.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on. So even in the midst of those kinds of injustices, let's just put it under the right label, parents are still out there trying and so on. And there's a story on the front page, one of the front pages this morning, because we have more than one front page. You should find the other front page.
Yes.
The story is about this woman the story is not about her. It is about her son, who is 12 years old and who has got a placement in a school 17 kilometers away from his home, 10.5 miles, when there is a school walking distance from him. And it brings into issue the fact of children, especially young children, being placed in schools far away from them, no boarding arrangements because the parents usually have to do that privately. Transportation in some of these rural areas is very uncertain and very costly.
Very expensive.
Yes.
Let me tell you,
And
sister.
it is just heartless
Mm-hmm.
for us to be in a situation, in a small country like this. We can't organize school districts, so we ensure that children are placed in schools that are close to them unless they desire otherwise. So a 32-year-old woman is struggling to get her 12-year-old son placed in, I think his Very Technical is close to her and is walking distance, but they've put the child at a school called
Foga
Road High School, which is, miles away from his home, placing him at risk, because what is not more frightening to me than to see the little ones traversing the road trying to get to and from school at early morning hours. And oh my God. The part of the story that really got my attention, though, is that this 32-year-old woman is married and looking after her bedridden husband who has had 3 strokes and is unable to help himself. She's the one giving him round-the-clock care and unable to even land a steady job with those responsibilities already in place. And on top of it now, her little one is facing some long journey to school. It's on the front page because she's not getting any assistance.
And she can.
So it's made the news.
It would make the news because, as somebody calls it, the school lottery transfer.
Yes, it's a lottery, yeah.
Because remember how you're placed, you have 5 schools that you have choices that you would be placed in.
Yes.
And then you have the last 2 schools. I'm being correct in this. I'm just trying to remember what happened a long time, about 5 years ago with my son. And then there are 2 schools that they put you in proximity to where you are at. So that should have counted for him, I believe, in terms of how he did, but how he was placed. But I think what has happened to him is how well he did in terms of his scores would have placed him at Foga Road. Because even various one of the elite schools, so
let me tell you, you know what? She should just show up with him at Very Technical on the morning, and the justices of the peace and those persons of influence in the community need to rally around in situations like that. Here's a lady. Listen to her, the numbers for her. She need like 3 rams in the ticket. If she used to go to Foga Road, whatever, the cost to her would be $1,500 per day for taxi fare and lunch. This is a lady who is existing on an income of $20,000 a month.
So already she behind the 8 ball.
And the monthly expenses for the husband's medication is $14,000. Even with the National Health Fund card.
Wow.
$14,000 for hypertensive and for a hypertensive and diabetic patient.
Wow.
And she make $20,000 and she have the National Health card.
He has it. Yeah, he has it.
Yeah,
the gentleman. So there needs to be an intervention. There needs to be an intervention.
So she have $6,000 left to pay light bill, buy food.
Every month, yeah.
I look after because it look like she have 2 kids.
Yeah, she has 2 other children, yeah. Yeah, but please. This is where the heart comes in. This is where a principal looking at it and said, this is a real case. Because normally, I could say PEP results came out in early June. And by the time it came out, the transfer market was open and the people wanted to transfer and the process, if I recall, you have to go to the school that your child has been placed in, you have to get released. The ministry comes involved and based on the school you want them to go to, they have to have the space to accept them, and so it is really a push. But this one's in intervention,
The ministry person saying where there's a distance challenge that would allow the child not to attend school consistently, they should visit the regional office of the ministry within that particular region.
So
why you need to go visit an office?
That is how the bureaucracy works.
Okay, and I'm come from the country, I know what it is for somebody to go find themselves to visit a government office, because the government offices are not conveniently located for citizens. They are conveniently located for government. So you still have to spend more money than you can sometimes afford. Go, leave early in the morning on maybe the one bus. Have an uncertain experience when you go. There's nobody to see you, or the right person not there, or the thing, or you never bring the right paper, or one set of drama.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, there is a reckoning that is just round the corner for Jamaica. Well, it says she's not alone in it, obviously not. Another lady is saying her child, she lives in Simon, Rock River. It costs her granddaughter approximately $1,500 a day to attend Edwin Allen High in Frankfield. And she unsuccessfully sought a transfer for the past 2 years. Her granddaughter has to take 3 taxis to school each day, from Simon to Rock River, then to Chapelton, and the final leg to Frankfield. How did little ones manage that? How do you manage that?
They don't manage that, because in order to get to school for that time, because school normally start at 7:30. You know what? All them have to get up.
Yes.
You know that.
Listen to me, man. Come on, we have to do better. As a consequence of some of the, and this is not even what Julian Robinson, who is spokesperson on.
No, it's not. It's
on
not
education.
Damien on education.
Damien?
It's Damien.
Yeah, but Julian Robinson is being quoted here, talking about accusing Favour Williams of having her head in the sand. But he's talking about the teacher migration problem. So can you imagine you spend $1,500 a day that you don't have to get your child to school, and when they go, there's no teacher? They might run up and down like say Lego beast.
And that is a real crisis, And so when I met my lovely lady on Thursday, we were talking and chatting. You were teasing me about these ladies.
Yeah.
That you bring 2 ladies come from me.
I expect my commission.
No. She had some wonderful ideas as to how we could deal in terms of policy shift, in terms of how do you deal with the teacher migration, which is real and upfront, because in a school like Campion, I remember, let's set it in context with Campion. At Campion, they have a very strong PTA. They have a very strong past students association. And most people don't know, at these top schools, what happens is that beyond what the teacher makes, there's incentive programs. So every teacher at school gets something extra at the end of the period. And so what happens if you have teacher resigning, you know that it's there and Campion, because it's a good environment to work in, even though it's very... So when he says, how much him say gone now? 10? Campion?
You're looking at what?
He says 10.
Almost 24 teachers have resigned from Campion College.
24.
Yes.
Enough teacher that,
Yeah, almost. Maybe it's 23, since it can't be a fraction.
I can't get a fraction of a teacher.
So it's not 24.5.
No, but that is a whole lot of teachers. That's a whole lot of teachers, because normally
teachers of science, 2 English, 1 math, and another for Spanish from a second institution which have resigned and are set to leave the island for teaching job overseas.
But here's what is happening. I know somebody who teaches in the US, and she was saying, pretty up there too, because guess what? They have happened too. They have had a massive migration of teachers from the classroom,
creating an opportunity for the Caribbean teachers
to go. But she had to be there. No, them are coming there. No.
Yeah, but let me tell you, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah, but she said they don't even know
But you know what happens, Percy? It's not even that you think it's going to be a bed of roses. It's just that, for me, in the human experience, you would rather take crap from a stranger than have your own constantly deny you what's yours.
Yes.
I think that some of us are at that point where we would rather go and fight with somebody else. You just want a different devil
to deal with.
Just yeah. Yeah.
But
and you can't go and say, well, I'll do this for 2-3 years. I will take crap for 2-3 years,
And
maybe
at the
5. And I come home, I can make a house, I can send something for my kids, or whatever it is that you see as your objective. But to be in your own country and to be treated a certain way, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. But she said she's a Jamaican who migrated sometime because she have big kids, and she said, but boy, the situation in the classroom there is not pretty. She said, you can't talk to the children them.
Well, one of the things I heard her talking about, I'm assuming it's the same person.
No, but it's a different person.
So one of the things, we had 2 ladies from, well, they are educators, doctoral students, so they are very experienced and highly committed to their craft. And they have a podcast, which I got to remember.
The Zone.
Where it's called The Zone, and it is on
Whirlwind.
It's in the Whirlwind. It's aired on I think it's Jamaica Online, JA Online TV. These women were taught. One of them spoke at length about teacher burnout.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Just like how Dr. Burnout and
Parson Burnout.
was the only politician no burnout.
No, man.
They seem to catch a new gear every season. But just like how other professionals who put their heart, maybe that's why they don't burn out, they don't put their heart into it. The ones that put their heart into
who
it.
are passionate about it.
Yeah, some of the trade unionists, the ones who go in with a mission, they will get burnt out. But she says teachers get burnt out. And maybe it is that you want to give them, insist on some kind of sabbatical on a season, maybe every 7 years, teachers need to take 2 years off, and you find something else for them to do. Or you have a rotation where they go into admin or something else. Because she says they do get burnt out, and it's real.
Okay.
It's real. It takes a good teacher approaches her craft with a lot of passion and enthusiasm and hopefulness. And you get to the point where, it begins to dim a little bit. The younger of the 2, how long she had said it was about maybe 3-4 years before the shine was off the ball.
Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah. For her. But the other person who had risen up into administration, she was actually a vice principal of a school. And she says what it did for them, because they're passionate about education. The podcast allowed them to repassion themselves in terms of, if there's such a word.
But you just made it one. Congratulations.
Like bad mind.
Repassionized. It gave them a fresh lease on life, they were saying.
Yeah.
And it's necessary to do different things to just kind of re-energize yourself. Yeah, so I'm thinking that should be one of the terms of the conditions of work, just to give the teachers a respite.
Break.
It's not enough that they get a break with the kids. I can see why they need a break at summer, but I'm discovering from a lot of teachers that they don't really get a break. Some of them have lots of papers to mark. They have to be preparing for the next term.
Right.
Some of them, the school requires them to come in. Some have to do extra do tutorials, run tutorials, and so on.
Which is what happened this year
because
for a lot of schools,
how badly paid they are, some of them have to find work and go take up a new job.
Some of them in the summer take off and go to the States.
And work.
Yeah.
So not a bed of roses. And I don't think we're saying that we want to deny them the opportunity to be entrepreneurial or enterprising in how they sell their services and their time. But we have to be concerned about their mental health and their well-being, because they have our little ones in their hands.
And let me tell you something.
They're holding the egg, the future, and you know one day either drop it and make it break, or contaminate it, because the harvest comes and then we don't like the fruit, like how we are vomiting on the fruit that we're reaping right now.
Yeah, but the life of a teacher, those who are passionate, who have said, this is all I can do, they don't stop thinking about that student, The real ones, you go to a class and there's one who's just not getting it. And then you go away thinking, how am I going to get get that person to get it, and they're thinking about it, and them working on it, and they come back again, and with the marking of the paper, it takes so much out of them, and they really love it. A lot of them really love it, really want to see that child and the transformation that happens when the light bulb goes off in their head, and you teaching a concept and them get there going, whoa, that has just made my day. So just want to hail up all of the teachers out there. We salute you. We salute you very much. We thank you. Every one of us, I'm saying for every one of us who is here in the studio, the engineer, the Eden, the producer, we can recall a teacher that impacted us so much that we are so grateful that they were there for us.
Well, listen, we're talking about solutions and preparing the country to address this crisis. And I agree with Mr. Robinson. It is a crisis.
It is.
Many of us look to the schools to be that place where the kids can go, even if you're not concerned about what they're learning. You, as parents, need them to be somewhere safe while you work, even at a minimum. It means now, as we had to during the COVID pandemic, it means we have to prepare parents in the home to support and add to the educational material or training that the kids are getting. It always comes back to self-empowerment, and it always comes back to taking responsibility for your own future, your own family, your own communities. This is clearly the time when retired teachers, we were always kind of concerned about that we're missing the opportunity to do the proper transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next. If you're literate and can be a source of instruction for the young ones, this is now they're talking about forming brigades to deal with pedophile larceny. We need brigades to deal with education. This is when the after-school activities, the at-home, the weekend activities become of primary importance. And those out there in the marketplace who have a passion for helping in these areas, whether I know we are due to put a mobile education lab on the street. We got jammed up in an administrative glitch that we need to sort out and treat it as a priority, because our people, our children need us to be creative and persistent and stop at nothing to get this done. That's where we are. So I think even those who are trying to wake up the Ministry of Education, that might be a lost cause. Not saying it is, but clearly, if this is Julian Robinson's word, he's challenging Dr. Nigel Clark to consult with and inform critical stakeholders about the review process, because teachers are not comfortable about what their salaries are going to look like after this salary public sector compensation review.
And then on top of them, remember
they're
that
not being consulted.
They're not talked to them.
Terms and conditions are moving without anyone being clear where it's going to end up, and so they are proactively taking decisions. And we cannot place it on the teachers to carry the burden of this. Don't ask them to step up and bear it and carry any. No, it's not fair. The freedoms we fight for include the right to take your labor wherever you think you'll get the best return. So we can't be bitter because they're doing it. God knows many of us would like to do the same if we were at an age when we could migrate, or if we had skills that were easily marketed. So we cannot look at the teachers and say they're wicked, or they're greedy, or they're unpatriotic. In my view, they are doing what they deem is best for their families. We have to do the same.
And I know and when we come back from the break at 7 o'clock.
We're going to come back?
Yes, we're going to come back. We're going to come back from the break. When we return from the break,
yes,
I just want to highlight, I know of young teachers who have just said, Can't take this at all. Me gone.
All right, the last thing I'm going to say then, I just want to salute Earl Brown for a story he's sharing with us here online. He was visiting Jamaica at some time in the past, and a little girl about 7 years old asked for help to get back home because she come from the country and her school was in the town area. Her dad was supposed to come and pick her up, and she didn't see him, and she was lost. And when he told her he's going to call the police, she started to cry. And he eventually assisted her with bus fare, put her on a bus, and is here today hoping that she had made it home safely. But with all the missing children, especially young girls and so on, these are the risks. Anyway, let's take the break.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Non-communicable diseases, NCDs, continue to be the leading cause of death globally, especially in developing countries such as Jamaica. With this in mind, the government has been encouraging members of the public to take responsibility for their health and lifestyle choices. Recently, NCD Risk Factor Program Development Officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Kathy Ann Williams, was a guest on JS Radio's online discussion program, Studio 58A, with host Vaughn Davis to share tips for keeping NCDs at bay. Here's an excerpt of their conversation.
Before we go even deeper into the conversation, what can people do to keep the NCDs at bay? I mean, it's always good, it's good to let's just establish what we should consider, what are some of the ideal behaviors and lifestyle choices that we should be making to start putting ourselves in the best positions to dodge the different ones, dodge different illnesses and so on.
Okay, great. So we talk about two main things. We talk about prevention and screening. And we look at our risk factors for non-communicable diseases. And so our risk factors, one would have been mentioned before, physical inactivity, unhealthy diet, excess use of alcohol, tobacco use, and another factor that has come in recently is air pollution. So we look at those risk factors, and then what we try to do as a ministry is to let persons be aware of their risk classification. Where do I fall? Do I have a family history of diabetes? Do I have a family history of hypertension or cardiovascular disease? How old am I? Am I overweight? What category do I fall in? And based on those, we tweak our behaviors accordingly. We still would have mentioned about behavioral change, and it's so difficult. And persons are at different stages of change. So persons will jump on the early adopters, persons will lag behind, and there'll be persons who will follow other persons and that kind of a thing. So we have the risk factors on board. And so to counter these risk factors, we ensure that we have our exercise. We mentioned Jamaica Moves. And we have stipulations at our ministry, recommendations on exercise, which we'll probably go into a little bit later, based on age group. The healthy diet as well, we would have mentioned before, eating healthily or fruits and vegetables in the appropriate servings, reading our labels and seeing the salt and sugar and carbohydrates and protein content and making good choices. We have the Better For You initiative, where we have on board some of our fast food restaurants, highlighting some of the healthier choices among their options to help our public as well with those healthy choices. Tobacco smoking is a risk factor. So if we haven't started smoking, don't start. And if you have started already, we do have support services available through NCDA and the Ministry of Health.
But Dr. Williams, what about weed, Dr. Williams? I mean, tobacco different. Weed different from tobacco, don't it? Weed is the healing of the nation.
The weed discussion is controversial, specifically as it relates to non-communicable diseases, but I'm a healthcare practitioner, and so the answer is no. And our mental health team will be able to throw in a lot more facts than probably I can in this setting. But specifically for non-communicable diseases, we look at tobacco use, And I'll just leave it there as it relates to smoking.
Okay.
NCD Risk Factor Development Officer at the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Kathy Ann Williams, in an interview with Vaughn Davis on JIS Radio's online discussion program Studio 58A. Be sure to catch the full interview on our Facebook page at Jamaica Information Service, and remember to like, comment, and share.
Pat, I'm stressed out. The house need to be passed by an electrical inspector, but Tom price too high.
But you don't have to use Tom, Marsha. Exercise your power of choice. The government electrical regulator can help you find electrical inspectors and electricians across the island. That way, you can negotiate and choose the best price for you.
Okay.
Call them at 876-920-4508 or email ger@mset.gov.jm and tell them Pat sent you.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Warning, when there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, river bank, or low line area, if you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and a sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, away, I do I take taxi star.
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try and call him, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Say, let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Donna, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith that God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats. Best FM.
Yes, as we come back from that, one of our longer breaks, I know as we talk about teacher migration, I recall somebody that a young man close to me is not yet 40, not yet, no, not yet 30, good. But I know him because in his early days, I was kind of his mentor. Went to my alma mater, then did teaching, got his degree, decided because he loved teaching so much to go on and do his master's in education with an emphasis on maths. And in his doing it, then I supported him. The young men loved him because he was for them and he had a passion for teaching. And then him just saying, what happened?
Burnout?
Yeah, this not making no sense at all.
So was it burnout or frustration?
Just frustration, just sheer frustration. And he migrated overseas. He went teaching, he's visiting from the summer. And him say, as you have said, it's better go in this young stage of my life, earn some serious money, come back, and then I can deal with it. But he's gone. He had his master's, got it, and he never got any help. The administration, more in terms of saying, all right, it's a young man, he went to the school, he's come back to teach. They never facilitated him. It's horrible in a lot of schools. There's a young man who writes, who is doing his doctoral dissertation in education, and he writes every Sunday, and he says some of the times why teachers leave is not because of the money only, it's just the school administration frustrate the daylights out of them. And I can understand why some of them, the young teachers come in, as the young lady said, the shine rubs off. They want to teach, but the personal relationships, the things that the administrators do don't really facilitate them staying and being there. Because you need them. The older people just frustrate them, man.
So this frustration, or rather the efforts that, the activities that prove frustrating are typically like what? You block promotions?
You block promotion, your working conditions which can be improved. You're not doing anything about it. The way how you lead doesn't engender trust and confidence in them. You play politics. It is not a meritocracy in terms of what is happening. It just turn a lot of them off.
So, and I would imagine that the principals or the administrators, school administrators who are coming out of a modern learning environment or who are, consistently honing their craft and seeking to stay current.
Are the better ones.
Those would be the better ones.
And even some of them, though, can be very vindictive in terms of let me share, because I've actually been in the field working in school. I remember I did a project with USAID years ago. And I had to go to schools early in the morning, leave from where I'm at, head out early, because I was doing an intervention, working with the guidance counselors, working with the coaches, the PE teachers in the school. And I remember going to one school, reaching early, to catch their devotions. And minute, this is like 10, 15 years ago. You wondering, what is happening here? You go to the school, just a free flow. There's no order. Nothing is happening. And I'm saying, and I was shocked because, okay, I'm looking to go to where the principal's office was. But, it's around there, so I said, I'm on a legitimate business. Let me just talk to people and things. And then I got a very strong smell of the good stuff. And I'm saying, no, this is not possible. No, man. And then I finally found the office and spoke to him. The lack of order in the school was just disastrous. I'm saying, okay, did what I needed to do. And then I did about a 20 minutes drive in the same parish to another school. Minette, you drove him into the school, and you're saying, is school happening here? Because you expect the normal chatter and thing, but there was chatter, but it was subdued because you could hear about the interaction. So I go in, security says, yes, man, you can go to the principal's office. And I'm walking along the city street and I introduce myself. I say, I'm looking for the principal. And she says, where are you at? And she says, then I discovered she was a principal. But students were moving from classroom to classes. You're just a sense of order in the school. I know what it comes down back to, whatever people might say, leadership.
Yeah, we know
leadership.
we know that it's leadership, but I thought you were gonna go in a slightly different direction because our hearts are always in that place where we recognize the attributes of those who can bring about that style of leadership which makes a difference. The heart position has to be in alignment with some principles that speak to righteousness and justice. Outside of that, you're not going to see it. Outside of that, you're not going to see it. I made some notes here because as with the point made on Thursday when we had those educators with us and we were talking about burnout. Aside from, I think she was ranking the reasons why teachers leave.
She was doing it, yeah.
And while money was like number 2 or 3, high up on the list was this, I'm calling it burnout, but it was the frustration that builds up and kills the optimism of the teachers, having more to do with conditions of employment and some environmental issues which are manageable but which require deliberate intervention.
True.
The environmental issues have to do with behaviors in the classroom, the bureaucratic nightmares that Pastor referred to. And sometimes, in fact, what surprised me is that the school infrastructure was low on the list in the sense that them teachers would teach you under a tree.
And those are some of the best classes,
Yeah, well, I prefer that one too. As long as the kids are engaged and working with you where it is taking place, it's not as important. I've walked onto many school campuses and I've gone into many government offices and immediately I say I could never work here. I would be constantly out there trying to fix things because those kinds of environment would really, really mess with my psyche if I had to be doing it every day. It's one thing to go in there and you do something for 3 weeks or, a short-term thing. But, I mean, when I look and I see the level of decay and what gets to me too, is not what it looked like at the front. Please don't let me go to the back of your house and seek chaos. To me, the front and the back must look the same with reasonable accommodations for purpose. I mean, I don't expect your front door and your back door to look the same, but if you have a nice, tidy front of house, back of house must look the same.
Order.
When I see a well-painted gate and frontage, and I go behind and you have swept all of the junk into the backyard, rusted this and all that, and that scares me because it tells me you're delusional. You think if you're not looking at it, it don't exist, which is what the current Minister of Education has been accused of, thinking that if she don't talk about it or don't focus on it, it will go away. And we know that that is not so. But here are the notes I made. Do you think we could benefit from a deliberate rotation of principals through the different schools where, I'm going to be extreme, where a Campion principal can end up at Foga Road? Is that name? Foga Road.
Foga Road.
Where
you don't go so far. Go down to Trenchtown.
Or, I'm just saying, could we do a rotation of principals through different schools so that for a spell, for a season, they must deliberately apply their minds and energies to uplifting or just bringing schools to. So I have that as something worth thinking about. How could we, even if you don't physically move them, how can you get principals to swap school? just, as a method of infusing fresh ideas. The other thing I thought about is, could we
That's already in
twin
place.
the schools
They're
where
already in place.
Well, I don't know what's in place, so you can describe to me what's in
because
place. Where you tether a non-performing school to a high-performing school, and it is a real tethering, where it's as if the two are conjoined, and they plan together, work together, do exchanges where the students get to actually work together and see if you could have a resetting of the standards. How does the twinning work?
They have what is called zones of excellence, where the schools, and so you have the stronger work and the weaker in theory, because it's something that the Ministry of Education has put in place. In reality, though, you wonder if it is really working in terms of the real exchange of ideas and exchange of students. But it's something which, when it was spoken of, I thought was an excellent idea. I know it happens like for schools that are church run, that they try as much as it's possible. So like a Holy Trinity feeds off another Catholic school.
When I was in high school, there were like 5 schools in the diocese, and they were meant to be operating, but they never did.
Right. So it's the move.
I only know based on the color of the uniform, that this is your sister school, right? But it never, reality, ever,
and you need to push.
Never, ever did I see it work. But the idea of, and when I say it, I'm not even thinking of it in terms of a government mandate, because what I'm discovering is, well, we know that if the government make it a mandate, it's bound to fail. People need to get up, see the need for these things, and have the heart to do it.
You know what we should do?
Yes.
We should really, probably this week, invite one of our principals just to their response to what
well,
is
you know
happening.
that's your job. I don't know one principal.
I just reach out and say, because
I know you had got Nadine Malloy, but what I would love is not a principal from the high performing school. I would love to hear the principal from a school that has challenges who's seeking to meet them and understand how citizens can play a part, because it's going to be an important part of the fix. Then now I'm looking at how do we, from a policy level, address burnout in creative ways. Is it sitting somewhere in the same rotation system, or is it that there are some jobs, that you can only do it for a certain number of years after that? Not sure which jobs those are, but let's see. Kind of like how, say, pilots can't be in the air for more than a certain stretch of time. It becomes a safety issue for everybody. I'm thinking that we need to begin to look at this burnout issue and make some strategic, deliberate interventions to give the teachers the space that they need to re-energize and to give the system a better chance of succeeding at some of the objectives. The other thing, of course, is we now have to look back at community initiatives in the field of education.
Community involvement. Phil Williams on Saturday was asking for the help of the church in terms of helping with values and re-socialization in terms of some of the issues they are facing. So a friend of mine says, are we asking for divine intervention? I said, no, we don't need divine intervention. I really do believe the schools that belong to churches, they need to become more involved in those schools in terms of running mentorship programs, assisting students who are in need. There's a whole other array of stuff that churches that are aligned to schools can do, and even for churches in community that are not aligned to any school, meaning it is not a church school, there is a need for intervention in ways that can really, really, really move the schools forward, because it goes a long way,
A big issue is funding.
And I was about to come to that.
Because none of these things can take place without resources. And if the Ministry of Education wants to see a greater partnership between civil society and ministry in the field of education, they have to address their minds to funding and begin to stimulate the NGO, the volunteers community, the faith-based community, all of those centers that typically participate from a charity perspective in these initiatives, they have to find a way to put out opportunities. When I look at other countries, because I've had the opportunity to look at how certain social intervention programs are fostered in foreign jurisdictions, I see where the city may take a decision that this type of intervention is needed, but they know they have to pay for it, but it has to come from civil society. So they put out a call for after-school work programs, for, they put out a call, they have a budget, and they encourage and work with NGOs from the communities to do it. So the ministry can't just make a call. The ministry has to apply its mind to how these things are going to be funded. There are lots of single parents. Look at like this mother who, there's a gap in her income that maybe when she's at home looking after the husband, she could run a little nursery or something. She could be, there could be something that you can do in a space that allows for some learning to take place. And I'm just saying, we have to be thinking out of the box, and we have to be thinking resources, because none of it takes place for free. And when you look to the church, you're really looking to how our church is funded. Churches are funded from free will offerings and gifts and so on that come from the same citizens whose children are suffering and who are themselves suffering. So if you're calling on the church for a partnership, you have to apply your mind to funding. Your turn.
I agree with the funding thing, but one of the things I've discovered out in the field for a lot of our children is the need for what I call relationships. Strong relationships that speak to care, speaks to refocusing their minds, dealing with the young people understanding purpose, and somebody mentoring, because mentoring takes time, and time is important. Some of the time there is not a monetary value attached to the mentorship, but that's one of the ways I think that communities, the church community, can intervene in terms of schools. I recall a lot of people, because I've helped train up mentors and so on, and in my alma mater, we challenge our old boys to go in on a Friday morning and give back to your alma mater just 1 hour, just to talk to the young men and so on. And I can say to you, the impact has been tremendous in terms of our young men who come from a lot of homes that are single parent with a mom, with no father, and that helps to align and to help them. So that's one thing upfront that doesn't cost any money. It costs you, the person who is given, in terms of the time you take, but that's one way that we can intervene. And I'm just sending out a call across the length and breadth of persons who are listening to me this morning. Let us go back to our schools. Let us, as church community, draw close to the principal and say, Madam Principal, Sir Principal, what it is that we can do. Some of us have time. There are a lot of persons who are retired and they're at home twiddling their thumbs. What can we do? But it's going to take building of relationship. I say to people a lot of the times, because our young people don't have relationship with older people, that is why you can't really discipline them, or discipline has broken down. I've had relationships with people and they say, how you relate to them? I say, because I give them the time. I give them a listening ear. I allow them to speak, to let them understand that they are a person of purpose and there's something ahead of them. And that changes, that just changes their own outlook on some of the misbehavior that we see happening with our young people is because there's nobody who says to them, you're a person of worth. I agree with you in terms of the fact that in terms of thinking out of the box, the government needs to make some allocation, like with the after-school programs that could help, especially at the primary level and so on. If you're getting a stipend that says, I can do this and so on, it's income to you, and that's what? Encourage it. Money sweetens the labor that you do, and people look ahead and get that done. So those are just two things that just jump out at me, things that we can do, but it has to be organized. It has to be organized. Somebody has to take the lead in terms of building the partnership, building the relationships that's going to move our school system forward in this time. Yeah.
We're at the 7:30 break, and there are two issues that I want to raise, and I want time for us to consider it. So we'll take the break, and then when we come back, I'll open to those issues.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
We're committed to reducing the impact of disasters occurring in Jamaica. Hurricanes can happen, so be prepared.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, away I do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience, and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040. Or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13, and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, senior.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats. Best FM.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us and staying with us. To all those who are sharing with us online, thank you very much for your comments. I tell you, Conrad, once I see the words Dunce JLP government, I know who's writing. And James Bond, good morning. Love the name, 007. Well, he has to say something more before I can really see if he's a spy master. Good morning to Earl. And those who are listening and sharing with us. And those of you who are on air, we look forward to speaking to you in a few minutes' time. Let me just raise one other issue that I want you to give some thought to. And then when we're chatting, I hope it does come up. I want to hear your views. Now, it's not very often that we're able to draw a straight line between infrastructural development and education. I mean, usually when we're talking about school plans, building schools and so on, it comes up. But here it is, a bridge which collapsed from August 2021 in the little community of Troy, somewhere in northwestern Manchester. I remember seeing it on the news. It's a 100-year-old bridge, and it is a
Should have
key.
been a heritage site.
Yeah, it should have been a heritage site, and it is part of the main network of roads between that part of the island and other parishes. It was explained as causing great hardship for farmers, commuters, people who have to go out to work and come back. And in fact, the residents had, with some ingenuity, fashioned some kind of rope system to carry things across. And even in the papers today, there's a picture of a young man with a crate of
August
things.
2021.
That's when the bridge
August
collapsed.
2021.
1 year ago, people in that community have had to find workarounds to the point now where some people are even looking to relocate. And the impact on the children now going to school is where we are. Teachers have been forced to travel an additional 15 miles because of the collapsed bridge, which obviously that's not for free. And then imagine your little ones having to navigate that area. The MP for the area, it is one of the very few opposition-led constituencies. And the MP for the area is crying foul and saying he has seen disasters happen in other government-led constituencies.
And it fixed quick.
It fixed quick. And he talks about some people getting even up to $100 million to repair, road repair, and so on. But these constituencies continue to suffer, being told that there's no money in the budget to fix the bridge. No money in the budget to fix the bridge. That's it. Okay. So we see that happening. And you might say that is politics, and maybe there are any number of explanations that could cover it. And I wasn't even going to talk about it because really MPs and others who are fighting for the scarce resources need to get them strategy right and figure out how they are going to keep the trust of their constituents under some very trying times. We know there really is not enough money to do everything. So there's always some kind of competition for resources. So I was kind of leaving that alone. But then I go around and I see that there is a man who has been under witness protection who is threatening to file a suit against the government alleging breach. And I just want to share some of the concerns that this man has. Can you move from infrastructure to this now is core administration of justice?
Yeah.
We saw Justice Panton, former Court of Appeal president, making the point that many citizens can hear a gunshot but can't see shooter. And many citizens can be before the cameras complaining about various, illegalities, but they won't come to court and make the complaint.
Right.
And we have seen, I think on the weekend, Peter Champagny, Queen's Counsel, was coming out in defense of Justice Panton's arguments because the Gleaner editorial had kind of chastised him for making light of the citizens' genuine concerns about their participation as witness in some of these cases. Now, here's a man who exposed himself and showed up to say what he saw and what he knew. A 51-year-old St. Andrew man who alerted the police to guns that gangsters had hidden in his yard says he is being removed from the witness protection program against his will. He has accused the case officers of breaching his rights, and here are some of his complaints. He said he was moved to a parish under an MOU which gave him the assurance that he would get at least $150,000 a month, which was in keeping with what he had been earning as a construction worker. So you've been called to step up as witness, mash up your whole life throw your things upside down. And in the witness protection program, you obviously can't keep showing up to your old job, and you should not have to participate as a witness and lose your work or become destitute. So they gave him a promise at the time that he would get a matching stipend from the government. Is that a matching stipend, or the government must have a construction company where you can put people to work and they make their living? Anyway, instead, he was given $20,000 monthly, from $150 to $20,000 monthly. And when his lawyer, Ernest Smith, now deceased, lobbied for an increase, they gave him $12,000 more. So the most he has ever received is $36,000. He also had an agreement with them that they would relocate him overseas after the trial. However, he's still there at Jamaica, I suffer. Because, one, a trial didn't take place because the main suspect was killed by the police. He was moved to a parish that he didn't agree with the parish they were sending him to. Some cascas happened in the parish, and he was spotted like twice, so they had to move him again. They put him someplace where there was a problem with the water system. He had to take water from a tank. Water in the tank became contaminated. He fell ill. He got a prescription. He should have taken it to a pharmacy where his identity would be protected. The pharmacy said they have no instructions to give him medication because, of course, he's not to pay for the medication. So he couldn't get the medication. He said by this time he was breaking out in all kinds of unpleasantness. I'm not going to say monkeypox. He was breaking out in all kinds of unpleasantness, and he got really cross in the pharmacy and cuss and carry on. And then they tell him that he no manners, so they're releasing him from the program.
No, the part that time.
Lord have mercy. Yes, I tried to shorten it, but
this
catch
is
the
important,
part. Yeah.
After claiming that he was forcibly held and administered psychiatric drugs at a medical facility, although not diagnosed with mental challenges.
Mm-hmm. That coming out of his depression and his upset with the way he had been treated. So now, what kind of witness protection program is that? And who are you expecting to step forward, mash up their life, to be a part of the administration of justice when we can't even keep our word to one man? One man.
And people say, hey, they're expendable. That is the whole idea, is what is coming across very, very strongly to me these days is that them no business. Them really no business, because you are not an elite. So you for justice to really change and to turn around, the people in the street have to become a part of the process of justice. And I see it as important. No, if you treat the man like that.
I drew out the producer with that one.
Yeah, good morning, Jamaica. And the world. The problem, is that this whole business of informer for dead
culture
is right across the board,
Yeah.
So you find that this man will never enjoy the respect of whether it is the people or even those who are there to protect him. That's the problem. They have no respect for him.
Well, his own family members, when he decided to help the police, one of his brothers tell him, say, he has put the whole family at risk.
Yes.
So anywhere.
So he's now an outcast.
He's an outcast from his own family. And Jamaica small. So they're moving him around this little box.
Says he has no value. Worse, the main suspect was killed.
The police don't solve the case.
So that's it. So they have no more use for him.
Yeah. Oh my God, it is bitter. After the showdown in the pharmacy where he was being refused medication, a medical team was called in. That's when he was tied down, taken to a facility, and given several injections.
Yes,
became a madman.
There you go.
He's a madman.
No, he's a madman. Because he was mad at first to go to the police.
Yeah.
Because people say, and having discussion with a lot of young people, them say, their thing is, we do this, but at the end of the day, anybody going business about we? So that is why you can you can preach like Paul to the Jamaican public, they're not going to respond because them say the reality is we know the runnings going on.
And then we say, tell
The
what
minister
you know.
says, the minister in whom Jamaicans have such great confidence says, we have not lost anybody to the extent that we are comfortable that the program has been working well. The only people we have lost are people who have left the program or refused to go on the program. We know that in today's Jamaica, if you are giving the first person affidavit against known criminals or killers, they take a major risk and can be killed. But the program itself has been pretty good in securing their members, he said. That's, since we trust him so much, that's the final word.
Was who the minister?
The Minister of National Security.
Hey.
Right below it now, the PM is countering the migration drumbeat with a pitch for patriotism. Take one for the team.
Hello. You know, see the headline in today's paper, the cartoon. After you can't manage the work, this is the public, you know, was in bed with the person. And she
the
get
public
up,
step
get
out.
up all you good for is cutting ribbons and handing out these house keys. But you know, me have to keep up appearances. That's so unkind, but it is a reflection.
Yeah. Telling people to take one for the team, not gonna cut it, because we don't see anybody in the political class taking
one for the team.
For the team, the only team they are looking after is team self.
Right.
And it's nobody is fooled by it. Not one of us is fooled by it. You know, I'd ask you to pop in by the Marcus Garvey. You were there, Lowell, for the Marcus Garvey. They had a business forum on Thursday, and I was one of the participants.
Your one was taking one for the team.
Oh, Lord.
You take one for the team, sister.
I don't. I had one. I've taken one too many for the team. The question of do we need a black chamber of commerce was posed by the moderator, and he prefaced it by saying, most countries that you go to where, you know, the descendants of slaves are a part of the society, they have interest groups that are created especially to cater to the agenda and the needs. And he was asking, does Jamaica need a black chamber of commerce because black businesses in Jamaica have such a hard time being born and surviving the trauma of birth and early childhood? Many of us don't even make it out of the nursery. It's a question that I am posing on this program. I don't know what you think. Is there a need for it? Typically, when I considered it, I was saying typically those societies that have interest groups dedicated to the agenda of minorities is because you're in the minority. But in Jamaica, black people are in the majority. And as a friend of mine once said to me, not tongue-in-cheek, the majority need no protection. So you don't need special interest group for yourself because you are in the majority. Yet we see that, as a matter of fact, black businesses struggle. What do you think? Do we need to give special attention to the survival of the business or the agenda, the interests of African-led businesses? I say African, you know what I mean?
You should have real Jamaican, black Jamaica, the real Jamaica Chamber of Commerce.
We could create one. I like that, the real Jamaica.
It's very interesting because, well, first of all, blacks are a majority in the country. Our leadership, for the most part, is majority. So then, whether or not you have a chamber of commerce is neither here nor there. Because, well, our experience tells us that the leadership is the problem. So it's not a chamber of commerce. Yes, the chamber of commerce is set up to really serve the interests of the business people who are a part of it, not necessarily society. Well, certainly that is what the experience has shown.
Well, the Chamber of Commerce and other civil groups are that second tier level of support that can challenge the political leadership when it is off on a frolic of its own. So typically that's where your lobbying takes place. That's where your banking can take place, because if, say, Carousel had access to funding, if Carousel had a bank that was loyal to its interest and didn't put out perjured documents to assist the government regulator in what they ultimately did, you would have had a better chance of, because we're talking about resistance, and resistance will come from your, civil
let's
society
look at it.
groups.
Did the Chamber of Commerce come forward to do or say anything?
No, but does it represent the agenda or interests of Black Jamaicans? That's really the question.
That's
because
the real question,
every country have it that will have. So you would have, let's say you're in America, they would have a Chamber of Commerce, and then they'd have a Black Chamber of Commerce. And the Black Chamber of Commerce would be that center of power that advocates for the interest of
strictly speaking,
the
I don't
minority.
think that it necessarily need to see it from a black and white standpoint. We're far too small and we're in majority. What we need are people of integrity, people who will represent Jamaicans right across the board. And we have a class problem in Jamaica. Yeah.
But I was intrigued, the need to ask it, because it was asked by a moderator who has international experience and exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, well, usually when you see that one group is not prospering, then you get a special interest organization in place that fights for it, because, the one man's voice isn't making an impact. So he was saying, well, that's usually this kind of group. Does Jamaica need one? Jamaica does not need one. I agree with you, because if you are the majority, you must exercise your weight and power as a majority group.
Right.
The question now is, why is it that with our own people in places of power, decision-making places of power, why do we have an adverse experience? And the thing that comes to mind when I look at it, I said house slave. What you have are a lot of Jamaicans who look like me and you, but don't give two hoots about me and you. They are still serving the agenda of
the master.
Yeah, but the truth is, a lot of them are serving themselves, because we know corruption in this country is rife. We know that.
But you can serve yourself. Listen now. You can serve yourself, and still help your brother. Because sometimes
tell them that.
Because sometimes if you're a corrupt person, you don't really care whose money you take.
Mm-hmm.
If a taxi man come and need a permit and he will give you something for it, you'll take it just as well as you would take the inducements or the sweetmeats. There's a thing in Proverbs about when you're invited to the rich man's table, do not fall in love with the sweetmeats and be too greedy about it, because that's when he catches you. So we were talking to someone on the weekend, and I was asking a question about how do you, as a person of faith, when you are making decisions and acting on the mandate of your foreign employer, master, how do you ensure that you are giving value and that you are living out your faith principle of being righteous and just in your approach to things and so on? How do you make sure that, you're not becoming a part of the oppressor class? Because let's face it, you work for a foreign company owned by foreigners. Their objective is make as much money in Jamaica off Jamaicans and take it back to their country. Leave as little as you can get away with. Leave only enough that will keep you in business.
Mm-hmm. That has always been it.
That is it. Yes. Plantation economy, that's the whole objective.
Because
suck.
Yeah. But there are some people.
So how you once worked for one such company, did you?
Yeah.
Right. So how do you make sure then that you don't become a part of the pirates? Well, that was the question I was asking.
Because one of the things I think that has helped people with that is to be just in terms of their dealing and to continue by what they do to make a strong case to say, but if you do that, when you think long term, you are going to lose. And I've known of persons who have been in that position and they've made such a strong case that the powers that be wanted to pull all the resources. No, all right, we hear what you're saying. It's good business sense, because for them, it has to make good business sense. And that's how, as you would say, working for a multinational, that's how they have helped to retain a lot of the monies here in Jamaica instead of it being repatriated overseas.
Well, the truth is, we are largely motivated by fear. A lot of people, they are in these positions and they fear losing their job.
I know a lot of people have walked
then
away.
You have the ones who are motivated by the greasing of the palm. And so they will compromise their integrity.
Fear and greed.
Exactly, fear and greed. They compromise their integrity and just maintain the status quo.
Yeah.
So when you can reduce it to the human emotion or the deadly sin, the answer becomes a logical course of saying, okay, 7 deadly sins, 7 virtues. If it is fair, we know perfect love casts out all fear. So you know what you need to do with persons who, boy, me da like do this for you, but me I gonna lose my work, or me da like do this for you, but so and so. You know how such a person needs to be re-socialized or restored into
disciples and understanding real kingdom principles.
Right.
It
That's
goes
where
back.
I'm going.
It goes back to what I've told people a lot of times. When Jesus says you can't serve God or mammon,
and
you cannot serve God and mammon at the same time. You have to make a decision.
Always have to choose
in your heart what it is. And you know, if you serve God, His principle is about love, is about faith. And I've seen people who have woods. A couple of my friends who said, no, man. They have to come to the point and say, you know what, if I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to stand on this principle.
Absolutely.
Which is a righteous principle.
Yes.
And the people have come back to them and say, you were right. Even though they walked away, the people came back and said, we wanted to work for you. Because when you were there, we saw our business prosper. When you walked away and we put in somebody else, it just...
This feeds right into the whole business of the whistleblower situation. Because here it is. If persons are employed, and because of that kind of affair, or fear, let me say fear.
Yes.
So
it is fair. It is fair.
That kind
because
of affair
that
is another
kind
legislation.
of fear, they choose not to say or do the right thing or speak up, as you put it. So therefore, you need to have systems in place. And we love to say laws, but the truth is the laws are useless without people.
Without the system.
So have systems in place that will punish that kind of behavior.
Or give you an opportunity,
give you the opportunity
to speak
do
anonymously
what is right.
and get what is right. But then you come up on what this witness protection man is experiencing, because if you don't have integrity and some sense of honesty at work in the mix, then it's still going to fail. Because can you imagine you are the whistleblower who bring attention to something, and because the leadership is corrupt, your name gets out, and before you know it. So we're talking in a circle, but it is so that we can identify the points where things happen and how you answer them, how you ensure that you're covering all the bases.
What we have, you see, it goes right back to the leadership. And what we have now are leaders who are blaming the people and saying that they're ungovernable.
Or they're unpatriotic. Unpatriotic. If you're getting up to go, you're unpatriotic because you won't stay still and take the nonsense.
I agree with you. But, you know, and it came home very, very strong to me. I was having a discussion with somebody who was in business, and they were just walking through the trials and tribulations they've had. I'm saying what the person said. It goes back to the heart of the person.
Well, always.
It always goes back to the heart of the person, what you consider to be vital, important, principled in terms of what we need to do. Because he says, and to quote him, until we come up with a vision of Jamaica that the people are at the heart of it, we're going to continue to do all kind of shenanigans and
shenanigans. Who are shenanigans?
Shenanigans.
That's how you want their person. All right.
Shenanigans. Shenanigans. and continue to do it and still coming up empty because we're not moving forward as a people?
Well, the truth is the people have to step up and do what we need to do. We are the ones who put them there, and we need to take a decision as to whether or not we're going to keep them there, instead of standing back and quarreling and, all the various things that we are doing.
Okay. As we close, I was just looking at something.
Oh, we are closing?
No, as we close this segment and move
It's
to
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Okay.
As we close this segment, I think it was Viktor Frankl who said that when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning in life, he or she distracts themselves in pleasure. It is true of a nation as well. Crooked and superficial thinking takes over. That is a true meaning.
Yeah. All right, let's take the break. Please remember, when we return, the lines will be open for you to interact with us. The numbers to call are 619-1508 and 279-8473. This is the Morning Connection. Please stay with us. This is our longest break, so it's time for you to refresh yourselves and be back at your radio or whatever device you're using so we can have a good chat this morning.
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Hello, I'm Justine Green with the BBC News. China has introduced emergency measures to save electricity as the country battles the worst droughts in some places in more than half a century. Shanghai is switching off its famous waterfront lights, factories have been ordered to close, and shops are restricting their opening hours. Stephen McDonnell is in Beijing.
There's not enough water in the Yangtze River. This has restricted hydropower. Now, Sichuan province relies on its power from hydro sources to the tune of 80%. So you can imagine what a huge impact that's having on the electricity. On top of that, inland shipping. The Yangtze River is also a place where, apart from people travelling, there is a lot of commercial shipping as well, which has stopped because of the drought, not enough water in the river. And unfortunately, no sign of any rain to come.
Russia's security service says it's established that Ukraine was behind the killing on Saturday of Daria Dugina, daughter of the prominent ideologue Alexander Dugin. Here's Sasha Schlichter.
Without producing any evidence, the FSB said a Ukrainian intelligence agent, Natalia Vovk, and her daughter entered Russia in July and rented a flat in the same Moscow residential block where Daria Dugina lived and started surveillance. They also used a Mini Cooper car to follow her around. They even attended the fateful patriotic festival outside Moscow where Daria and her father were guests of honor. She died when her car was torn apart by a bomb on her way back. After that, according to the FSB, they made their escape to Estonia. Immediately after the attack, Ukraine vehemently denied any involvement, saying it was not a terrorist state.
The former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has been granted 3 days protective bail after he was charged under anti-terrorism laws. The court decision means he should not be arrested before Thursday. Mr. Khan's supporters had warned that any attempt to detain him would be a red line, and hundreds had gathered outside his home in Islamabad to protect him. Israel is currently holding more than 720 Palestinians and Arab citizens in prison without trial. It's the highest number for some 14 years and an indication of the scale of recent Israeli security operations. From Jerusalem, Yolande Nell reports.
Suspects in administrative detention in Israel are imprisoned without charges being filed against them. The number of Palestinians held has recently jumped, as Israel says it's been acting to prevent terrorist attacks. The figure has risen by more than 50 since the start of this month. Israel says it's arrested members of the Islamic Jihad militant group, which it targeted during recent deadly fighting in the Gaza Strip. Lawyers representing detainees and human rights groups complain that the practice is meant for rare cases and is being overused.
World News from the BBC. The Somali Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre has promised to hold officials to account for failing to prevent the deadly attack on the Hyatt Hotel in the capital Mogadishu. 21 people died in the attack by Al-Shabaab militants. Kenya's veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga is challenging the results of this month's presidential election in the Supreme Court. Last week, the election commissioner declared William Ruto had won the vote by a slim margin. Here's our reporter in the Kenyan capital, Mercy Juma.
According to the lawsuit, the Supreme Court has 14 days from today to determine this case. So in the next 8 days, they're going to do what we call a pre-trial conference, where they will set the ground rules for all the parties on how they're going to go about, how they're going to interact with each other ahead of this case. And then in 14 days, we will know whether this announcement by IEBC, that's the Electoral Commission, that William Ruto is the president-elect is valid or not. And then we will take it from there, whether Kenya is going into another election.
Police in Nigeria say the gunman abducted 4 Catholic nuns in the southeast of the country over the weekend. A police spokesman said they were seized near Akigwe city in Imo State on Sunday. Algerian police say at least 43 people are now known to have died in wildfires that raged for days in the north of the country. More than 30 fires were put out there over the weekend, but with some still burning, casualties are expected to rise further. A leading conservation body has welcomed a fall in rhino poaching in Africa, but says it remains a grave threat to their survival. The International Union for Conservation of Nature said the peak of 1 rhino in 20 being killed in 2015 fell to about 1 in 50 last year, with COVID-related lockdowns helping to limit poaching. It said anti-poaching policies must be kept up to protect populations of both black and white rhinos, particularly in South Africa, which is home to most of the continent's rhinos. BBC News.
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Best FM, keep listening.
Warning, when there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, river bank or low line area, if you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how we do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, senior.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
I try calling her, cause trust me.
Waiters, Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. Time to talk. We're gonna open the lines. There was something in that I read on the weekend that I really wanted to raise with you, Pastor. It's Peter Espute. Did I get it right? Espute. Peter Espute wrote an editorial or commentary or whatever he writes, in which he was reciting the history of how we have treated the environment. We created the ministry, and then we started to attach it to other ministries because he made a point that I always like to make, that we go into these things because donor agencies and foreign lenders force us to take these matters seriously, which is not always a bad thing. When they are taking a strong position against human trafficking, they force us to focus on those inequities in our own society. But with regards to the NRCA and NEPA, he was making the point that we created these agencies and then we just cannot, put them someplace even when it doesn't make sense. And he's remembering when the NRCA was in the Ministry of Health.
Right, it was.
Well, the thing he said, which just made me chuckle, then came the day when the sewage plant from a hospital contaminated the water supply, and the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health had to issue an order against herself, a stop order. And the minister, when he found out, he waived the requirement, and the stop order was lifted.
Uh-oh.
And now we have the same. He was talking about how conflicts of interest are built. Do we have a caller on the line? Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning. Not hearing anyone. So he was talking about the potential for conflict. Good morning.
Morning, love and bless. Wagwan.
I'm hardly hearing you, but welcome to the Morning Connection.
Morning, African. How are you?
My present, and I give thanks right now. Good to be here.
Yes, man.
You love the virgin, that you know.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, I listened to IRFM.
Yes.
I keep something for Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
I know the police going to lock it off.
Where were they hosting this event?
IRFM courtyard.
And it continued to the point where it was breaching some permit? Do you know why they locked it off?
I think at 12 o'clock in the night, them lock it off. Them say them have a law where when you reach 12 o'clock, them lock off the thing.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about that?
Well, me answer Miss Minetti. Yes, when I look on the police van them and the police car them on the road, I see crown on them. How would they represent Miss Minetti?
Okay, so you think the police ought to have allowed an event for Marcus Garvey, first national hero for Jamaica.
The government
event taking place in the parish of his birth. And
yes,
and at 12 o'clock they shut it down promptly, when we know that they're not typically so industrious for other events.
No, because other events go on till this morning.
Yes.
And nobody not trouble it a fight if it broke there before it locked down.
Before it. But you see, it goes back to the point I raised earlier. Why is it that in a country where blacks are in the majority, the agenda and the things that are of importance to us are not pursued? And those are, me sure, them a black policeman.
So when we look on them a black policeman in about them a crown police, Miss Minetti. And the soldier, them a crown soldier. And the government a crown government. We, the African down here, we have no government, we have no police, we have no soldier. We have no judiciary system. We have no land. I'm not telling a lie, Miss Milty. You see the Queen with the England, me I sent something for her this morning.
What is that?
A fever. Me I sent some fever for her.
Okay.
God, them work, and them not pay we, no brethren. We not get no pay all now, you know. And we don't know what we are doing, you know.
So you want her to overheat?
A bunch of a bun up, Miss Milty.
Fever versus fire.
Yes, Miss Milty. My brethren are talking about something this morning. The brethren were there, the producer.
Yes.
They talk about 2 words. Don't forget them. Forgot them when you was 2.
I mean, no, what was he talking about?
It must have like the system are 2 words. Or the people them. But me not remember.
Oh, all right. I'm looking at him and him not remember either.
But me I tell you, Miss Minety, right now, we have police in Jamaica, we a crown police, Miss Minety.
Well, listen.
This soldier, them a crown soldier.
African, you're not alone in not trusting them. The polls that Dan Anderson put out, the Cleaner has been reporting on this poll that they commissioned, shows that the majority of Jamaicans don't trust them. So
overtrust the crown, overtrust the crown, Miss Milty. The crown shouldn't be up on the car, because when I'm up on the road, I'm see the crown on the car. I what am I crown on the car? Huh?
I hear you, my brother.
We have the crown, every car in Jamaica, the crown, Miss Milty.
I hear you. Those are the things that will change once we make the bigger change. Because all of those symbols go with what we currently have on our Constitution.
That's why we cannot get any help down here. That's why the African can't get no help. The ground not break for the African. The ribbon not loosen for them. And that we say I go on, Miss Minety. I just stay jail and prison, you know, death and destruction, you know.
Yeah. These are the people we elect.
Miss Minety, we elect them, but then when we elect them go over King's House, go pack up with GG. And swear to serve the Queen,
and,
not we.
And 5 years later, we elect them again. So the change has to come from us.
Let me tell you something. Yesterday, people we have voted for PNP and JLP too. We have fever them too. Miss Minety, good to be here. Yes?
All right, brother.
Okay.
So, you know, he kind of just went right in on the point because it was at the Garvey Forum on Business that the question was raised. Who pursues an agenda that is mindful of the welfare and the interest of the Africans
in this country? And
I'm always struck by the fact that it's the same Africans that guard the gate and do the various things.
You call it a house slave?
Yeah, that's why house slaves came to my head. Because you're there busy at work another man's agenda and don't see what it's doing to your own people.
Do you think we'll rise up, we'll understand that the revelation will come, that the scales will fall from our eyes?
I think so. I think it will.
All right.
Is the caller on the line now? Good morning. Welcome.
Hello, good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Neville.
Good morning, Neville.
Yeah, morning to your listeners and your producer and all the good workers behind the scene and your valuable callers. The word is greed and fear.
Oh, those are the two words.
Yes, greed and fear, yes.
Yes, greed and fear.
Fear, yes, yes.
Now, when you're dealing with a country like Jamaica and the Western capitalism, which is now in decline, and their empire going to crumble by 2049, based on what the Chinese law says and the rules of China and Russia and the BRICS, they resort to greed. And they say greed is good enough. Because without greed, they can't accumulate the power that they have and the control over the land and all of these monetary vanity that they want so that they can go off in happy retirement and create what they call perpetual riches for their children at the expense of the Jamaican illiterate poor. And they fear to die. They're afraid for that, you know. Afraid. So when they must when them feel sick, them fly to Miami. And the best hospital up in the university, they call it Tony Tweeds Reserve for them. And them travel with bodyguards because they make decisions that's going to ruin other people's life, like what they're doing with the NHT. And you want to deal with the NHT like it's a dolly house to deal with. And like a government money them a deal with. A people money them a deal with in a bar. How the government get involved in the housing trust money where people deduct from them salary? How them get involved in that? Cash. I look money for thief to carry over in a central government so that them can manipulate other people's life and secure for themselves. And they have livable pension till they're dead. Because they are pristine capitalists. They don't business with the common man.
Neville, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
You've spoken about the capitalist system, and there's a communist system of doing business. Do you think any of those has really worked for the betterment of man?
No, these are just ideology that some people go in them bed go dream up.
Okay.
And let me tell you the danger that Jamaica face. And I'm talking to you from a person who has been into their fake institution about the teaching people about economics and accounts while they're not teaching people about the system. Because you don't learn about the system in school, you know. You just come in the system and every day they make up something and tell you.
Okay.
Jamaica is what they call a debt-based economy. It cannot strive without debt. I can't live without debt. I have to borrow money and use it, etc. Now, at the rate that the government is raking the money off the ground, they are preparing the government structure for what is known as the cashless economy. Now, the average man don't know about what the cashless economy will be, you know, until it mash up his family life or his wife left him or his girlfriend left him. You follow?
Okay.
Because the way the debt is structured now, the Western world owed $300 trillion in debt. And there's no money on the ground to pay back that debt. So they have to transfer the debt subtly to the backs of the slave. Hey, they're going to put us back into slavery. You know?
Okay.
There's no excuse for them not to push you back into slavery and use them police force and them army to put you in the ground. So what we as a people must do now is fix our household, fix the community, and in trying to fix your household, if your wife not agree with what you say, you left her.
Okay. Neville.
Yes.
A question for you. Why do you say that a cashless economy will mash up the country and people's lives?
Then you tell me now. You tell me this now, Mr. Producer. Like how me have $2,000 in my pocket now. And me can manipulate it how me want by the end of the day, and probably me can earn 3,000 more from it. When the bank have it, I have total control over my money. How will I have that power over my money to manipulate it how me want to manipulate it?
No, but look at it this way. If you don't carry the actual note, and at the same time you have a device in your hand that can be used anywhere to get the value, how does that put you in a disadvantageous position?
So who going to pay me interest on my money that they have in there?
No, but nothing would have changed. All you have is whether or not you're carrying a note or you have something else.
No, but they will have full control over your money, and they manipulate it how they want to maximize their interest and get maximum interest from it. And they don't give me no interest in my bank. So how that going to work?
No, I think the point, Neville. Neville, the point Lowell is making is that whether it is digital money or paper in your hand does not change the payment of interest. You're not getting any interest now with your paper money. Not getting it with the digital money don't change the picture. The question is what will be the true impact of the cashless economy on persons who are participating, whether they're, I think the greater concern is who are the persons who will have access
to your money
in a cashless economy, because if you don't have the telecoms network and the means to operate in that way, whether it's because you're not literate and smart on how that world runs, or you simply don't have any skin in that game. The picture for you is the same whether it is an economy with dollars or it is digital money. But access and literacy is an important part of what's going to bring about prosperity in the
those
digital
are the
economy.
questions, Neville, that you need to ask.
Look here,
How will I continue to have the same access and enjoy the same benefit whether or not I'm using a paper note or I'm doing it on my phone or any other device that they might come up with?
Thank you. That is what the Ministry of Finance, if they are any God in them, and if they flush the greed in the toilet, should be educating the Jamaican people.
Yeah,
And if they don't do it,
but don't sit down and think that they're going to think for you anymore.
And if they don't do it, Neville, I agree with you. It now becomes a matter for civil society in the community level, in schools, in wherever we can catch people to teach them and prepare them. We've got to be doing that.
I think this Neville, I know we don't have enough time to do it because we have somebody else holding, but we need to have a discussion on this in terms of the questions that people ought to be asking to make sure that their interest is protected regardless of whatever medium of exchange they're going to put in place.
Exactly. And let me leave you with this.
Yes.
Why is it that the government and the opposition leader, why is it that they can't have a join up government now that they see what the whole Western world is and what the division is?
The people, they're not going to sit down and, hold on, I'm closing with this. It don't make any sense to ask a question. We put them there, we the people need to take a decision and tell exactly how we want to be served. Eh? Have a good day, my brother. We talk again.
All the best to you, but remember, house divided by itself cannot stand. That is the law of God.
Yes.
Definitely. All right, my brother.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Hey. How are you, sir?
Giving thanks, you know.
Always.
Pastor, not about today, I'm just a tune in, you know.
No, man, I'm here. Me chose the first question at Neville. Yes, man, I'm here.
All right. The spirit to ask a question. I want you to use a one word to answer the question, and it's that, what do God want from mankind or from his people?
Trust, worship.
Obedience.
Yeah. Trust, worship results in obedience, yeah.
Obedience covers it all.
Yes, sir. I agree with you 100%.
All right. Mr. Neville, big up. You see, the point is, you know, whether cash or a card thing or your phone or thing, I would think either the card thing or the phone thing can be even more better than the cash itself, you know. But you see, the point is, when you have an evil system, some evil people, they are top of the system with some evil meditation, who don't really have no love for nobody but themselves and them wealth, then it can become a problem.
It is a problem. It is a problem. Not can.
Yeah,
it is a problem.
Can you say, them can come in with something that's definitely not good. And Mrs. Minette knows that that's not good, and Pastor knows that that's not good, and Mr. Lawrence knows that that's not good. Right? And suppose everything I run off for this car thing now, where them have full control over, really. Them can lock you down if you speak out, you know, lock you down, you can't get now, you can't use it again.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not the paper thing, you know, it's just
who control it.
Those up, yeah, you know, them have no love. So when them come in with that now, that are gonna make it even harder for us who are speak truth to live and survive. So we have got naturally live off our knowledge and nature. So I've got no to put on that when it comes to certain time, you know.
I want to clarify something that you and Pastor were in agreement on. What does God want of man? It's not obedience. It's love, because with love comes obedience, and He has chastised us for the type of obedience where we obey the letter but we don't carry the spirit, and therefore we create hardship. There are many persons who who are obedient to the law in a punitive way, and because there's no love in their heart, it becomes an offense instead of a blessing. So there's always that debate about what comes first, is it faith or love? But we know Paul settled that one. He said it's love. Of the three virtues, love is the greatest. And Christ himself reduced the commandments to love.
One day, I look at a teacher woman and live me beside her, and I tell her, say, I love you. And she look at me and says, love? When people tell you about love, it come like it make you scare. Because them tell you about love, but yet still them take disadvantage of you. So even what you are saying with the word love, love by the letter, love by the spirit. So even it's about obedience, it's all boiled on to that still. But obedience covers all still. Because from the very beginning, when God tell Adam said, don't eat from certain plants, disobey.
But if he had love, he wouldn't have disobeyed.
How to live and how to conduct themselves. I disobey. So God need obedience.
Wayne, God need love.
Well, I'm not going to.
But God teach love, right? So if God teach love and you're obedient, that means you believe in love.
Yeah. We love. That's an excellent point. Yeah.
So anyway, bless up, Miss Minette.
All right. Then.
I love you, don't.
What did the lady say to you about love again?
Because I care for you. I won't tell you anything wrong. Even if you may vex with me or you might feel offended, I never teach you nothing wrong yet. So that is love.
Amen.
And with love, obedience is automatic.
Anyway,
because he says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. That's the obedience. Obedience is secondary. I want you to always remember that way. And I know you're trying to split hairs with me on it, but it's important that you remember it is, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Obedience is an automatic response. Once there is love, you will not want to cause harm. You will not want to bring about pain and loss.
Wayne, as we come up to the break, as Minette says, I'm not going to split hairs with her in regards to that. I just leave it at that. Bless you. All right? Thank you.
Love on all. Mr. Lawrence,
love you too, my brother.
Yes. Big up, my brother. Bless up.
You're listening to Best
100 people. Are you listening?
If you choose to remain at home after an evacuation order has been issued, you do so at your own risk.
Get down, get down.
Heed the warning. For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
what a relief.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning. Good morning. Is someone on the line or I'm just not hearing? Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
welcome.
How are you, Malvern?
Yes, yes. Speaking of access to money,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
it has already begun. The lack of access. What I've noticed is that in my neighborhood, there's a bank. I won't say the name. There's a bank that have gotten rid of a lot of its workers.
Branches.
Yes, the workers in the branches. It's now machine.
Yes, sir.
And what would take 5 seconds to do in the bank is now taking 5 months. Because there are no human beings to do it, and the machines are not doing the job. For example, I know of people right now who cannot get their money even though they have the US dollars in the bank. The reason why they can't get the US dollars from the bank is because the bank is not converting the US dollars to Jamaican dollars.
At the machine. So you'd have to go in.
Yes, and there's no human beings. There's no human beings in the bank, and the machine is not doing it.
So you have to go find the nearest. So you have to find the nearest branch, which might be miles away.
Yeah, Mandeville.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So you see, well.
But here's the problem still. Even so, it is not physically available for the customer to get the
US
currency in value still, because it's not done at the bank yet.
Because it's not done what? Sorry?
At the bank yet.
It's not done at the bank yet. So you are not in... Yeah, boy. Yes, it's not yet done at the bank. It's not agreed on at the bank yet.
Right.
So you here is not able to access the money.
Mm-hmm. So let me see if I'm getting an understanding of what you're saying to us, Malvern. Remember to send in the information for the Magic Cup. You have sent it in already? Let me just a quick reminder. You sent it in?
Yeah.
All right.
No, I have not. Listen, I don't even have my picture on my WhatsApp.
All right. Yeah, so you're saying you know of individuals who have lodged US dollars to the bank, right? And they want to access their money in Jamaican or US, and it has taken them 4 to 5 months in order for them to access the money. That's what you're saying?
Yes. I know someone who she buys our farm produce.
Yes.
And she even showed us the check.
Okay.
From the US that is in her bank now here.
Yes.
And we cannot access the money here.
Okay.
She's not able to pay us because she's not receiving the local currency either. And she's a millionaire.
Oh my.
So, there are several things going on there which point to, it's exactly in the vein of what we're discussing, because banks now, if you get an instrument drawn on a foreign bank, and you have to wait until it is
cleared.
It's cleared. Then it goes into your US savings account, because very few banks give you a U.S. checking account. I remember there was a time when you could do it. I think because of all kinds of problems between scamming and just a poor banking profile for Jamaica, most persons are confined to operating a Jamaican account only. You have to use a U.S. savings account. Then the banks don't allow you to transfer between your U.S. savings and your Jamaican dollar account. Sometimes some banks allow you can send an email, you can do it online, but it takes some time. It doesn't happen immediately. And then she would have some maybe want you to go in branch to do it, and there are forms you have to fill out. Listen, it's a nightmare what banking has been reduced to, and this is not because of a digital economy. This is just how money is moving in today's world when you have so many risks that persons are trying to address, and Jamaica is a high risk country for foreign exchange transactions because of things having to do with drugs and guns and scamming. So there are so many things that are happening there, my brother, that leave us at a disadvantage. But one of the things that we need to prepare for, and I guess that was what Neville and Lowell were discussing, we need to prepare on the domestic side to have persons and have an easier time
properly educated
in accessing their money, using their money domestically. So even if there's a challenge with the foreign exchange part of it, at least make it easier for persons to trade amongst themselves in the local economy. That's why we had been talking about the People's Bank, and that's what we're calling it. But various initiatives need to be underway that allow persons to have access to their money.
Yes, we do need local cooperation.
Yes, we do. And there are some things, and just for those who are, money-minded in terms of the admin side of it, there are some things that the law allows you to do without your having to get banker's license and so on, because we need to get on the service side of it, where we can help organize things, set up platforms, whether it's trading platforms, meaning commerce, not necessarily trading in instruments, but just to allow persons to be able to handle day-to-day transactions at a faster pace and with greater value.
So, and you see, so right now we can't even continue our work on the farm.
Until you can be paid.
Yeah,
we're waiting to be paid, and the person who's supposed to be paying us is saying to us, I myself am not receiving the service from the bank.
The value for the money that she can see sitting there.
Wow.
And this woman is a wealthy woman and has done nothing wrong.
Yes.
And has been doing business for years, and everything is legitimate. Everybody can look and see it's all legitimate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's an opportunity. We used to have Farmers Bank, but we have to get back into co-ops, if not in the spirit of what the colonial people had in mind for us, but a real cooperative where people are working together to make things happen and can create their own storehouse of value so that, you can actually keep going.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not calling names. I'm wondering if people like me who are having this problem, if we can't talk about it on Facebook and those things.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can.
And then
what that lady needed, that lady needed to have maybe a relationship with a credit union, and maybe she have a property of value that they can give her a line of credit so she can keep paying her persons.
Yeah.
And when the money comes in, because the value is real, and it goes back to having relationships of trust and confidence that underpin every financial transaction. Need trust and confidence underpinning it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to realize that for ourselves.
Yes, man, if I knew that lady. Anyway, who knows? Solutions are there, and we need to avail ourselves of them so that things can keep going. All right, my brother, thank you so much. That is a necessary discussion. Yes.
Do you think it is because of the lack of personnel in the bank and the reliance on machines that's part of the problem?
No, it should not be, because in other countries, and there are other, let me name an institution,
VMBS.
VM, you can look at your US dollar account, transfer where you want, and they do it right there, and it is, you have access to it immediately. It's a question of the systems that you put in place.
I see. Because I hear that two large depositors have left that particular bank.
Ooh, okay.
And more should leave.
More people should leave.
More should leave, because just like how labor migrate, money need to migrate too. So it can be at a place that allow you to do business.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Malva.
So you don't think it's the lack of personnel?
No, because I tell you what, machines can perform at a faster, more consistent rate than persons. Because anytime I take a bank that has it set up right, if you go on the bank at midnight and say, I want to move $2 from my US account to my Jamaican account, it is done. It don't require working hours. Because you set it up that way and it operates 24 hours. Now you're not going to get human personnel to do that for you. So you see the machines in that instance give you an advantage. So it is, we go back to the heart, is the heart of the people who are set it up. They don't plan to be helpful.
So it's just the bank itself not being real.
Yes, it's the bank. It's the bank. Just like when the bank tell you that it takes 4 days for them to clear your check, but the money will leave the other person's account on day one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bank that has set it that way, and we need to know who is really responsible for the things that we suffer, so you can apply the right response. All right, my brother, thank you.
I heard that the bank manager is big like a house.
All right, then.
Usually. Usually.
I want big fat man.
All right, okay, take it.
That means you're not care and greedy.
I know that's where you were going.
All right, then.
Lack discipline.
Yeah, man.
All right, brother, thanks.
All right.
Good morning and welcome.
That's it, my time?
Yes, it's your time.
Love is the key, the golden key, the golden key, the key to open Zion, open Zion, and whosoever enter in, ever live.
Blessed. Love is the key. Can you remind me of the website that I can find that document? I've been looking and not finding it, and I thought maybe I got it wrong. It said EABIC?
Yes, .org.
Oh, .org. Ah, I missed it. Okay, got it.
Love is the key, my brother.
Love is the key.
And love and all laws and prophet commandments and the face of the earth.
True.
I love the key. I love Empress. We know that.
We know, yeah.
The world was created by love, for love.
True.
You understand? And then when you come to turn, like in the I know when created the earth, it was heaven created on earth, and A-N-D and O-N. And then change it to A-N-D. The earth innocent, evil principalities and powers like poor people and people in general. And suffer like God may know him do and can't feed him in creation. You understand? And what them set up, they are not countries. I remember it was America incorporated, you know. I didn't take incorporation recently, you know, but they are not countries. They are conglomerates. All of them in the West. They are conglomerates, right? And we are the feeding tree, the black word. Feeding tree. It's by design, you know. Everything is by design.
You understand? In turn, Jamaican. You understand? Towards that what you call that tag. Like when you look at the milk tea and you can just hear the milk and you just see beer too. You understand? Them something they are tagged to all way apart, and then them call some more Trinidad, and then them call some more Bahamas by me, and it's by design and trick that we don't get together.
Okay, all right. So we understand that, my brother. So love is the key. So, yeah, man. So you're saying that there's been a design to just separate us instead of bringing us together?
It's all by it's one grand design, and everybody one grand design, and we have to see. And nothing. A super trick them a trick queen is a bluff. I go hard.
But you know, I have. It's not a new argument that persons, especially small communities of people that look alike, are separated into groups in order to frustrate the plan or the move towards unity. At a grand scheme, everything is about that challenge to the oneness that God designed and intended between himself and his human family. And amongst ourselves, we are always being pressed to unite and speak with a voice that recognizes the overall benefit of the common group over individual, selfish one man trying to do his own thing. So we know that. But why is it then that we fall for it with such frequency?
We never know nothing about love. We never know nothing about bad mind and red eye and grudgeful. We never.
But then we learn it. But it seems like we learn it and it feels more natural to us. It would seem that it's more natural to us when you look at the way in which things seem to go. We've moved from being
more natural. I wouldn't say more natural because natural is nature and it's good. People just.
So is it predominant then in terms of how we behave? I'm one person I see the good in everything. I am one who believes that there is more good than there is evil. I believe that. I'm always looking to see, all right, so maybe this or that, but I see great smile, great personality, kind spirit. I look past the things that make us behave badly. But there are a lot of persons who say man is intrinsically selfish. Man seeks only to prosper himself and maybe his family, but others come later. Man will even fight against the very environment from which he was spawned. And look at how we treat our environment. You see people throw trash out the window of their cars, right down to a company that would just release effluent into the water supply, uncaring that is the same water have to, deal with the people who work for them and who need to show up to keep their business going. So that's why I say natural. What are you saying?
I saw just some little simple things there where we start to walk outside of our head. You understand? We get to see a woman walking and eating. Just the Empress, and then then because our beer crawfish whales, and now them poor things like them who when you say oh she look eloquent, and when they show you Christ, they show you one man in here quiet, not just that.
All right.
Well, it seemed to be quite instinctive to create an image of God that looked like the best image of yourself.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So the China man would have a Chinese-looking God, and the white man
not Empress, but I'm just saying.
Yes.
What they refuse to point out to everyone is that as black God, they all come to Africa and learn of this God we are and God we have living from us and took it back to their country, but they don't want to add Empress at the whole world is our world. This planet belongs to us, Everyone else our children, But when we are running, we didn't sell no land, we didn't sell no food. You can't make water. You can make sun when the something grow, the earth you're planting, you can make it. Who give you the authority and the right to sell it?
Oh, what's what you say?
How important is it to our moving forward in a prosperous way that somebody admits or that somebody what isn't it the greater obligation on us once we know the truth to be liberated by that truth and to move forward and I'm not even saying it to suggest that you're saying otherwise. I just want to make the point abundantly clear that whether the enemy confess his sins and speak the truth or not, I am under an obligation to find the truth, to seek it out, and then to live by it, because it is promised to me that if I seek out the truth, then the truth can be found by me, and it will liberate me.
And I am free.
But it to liberate you by admitting to the truth, because then now comes the recompense.
True, but you know, I want to shift.
There must be a recompense after an empress. There must be a recompense.
All right then. So, but let me tell you, the more liberating for me and for most people would be, you know the truth. The truth sets you free to act and become what the truth says about you. If I'm waiting on the other person to admit that they have done wrong, it means I go wait and wait. But no,
and that other person, no, their delay sets your timeline.
Yeah.
And that's what has happened to us somewhat, you know. We are waiting on somebody to acknowledge the truth, and they have no interest, nothing to gain by acknowledging the truth.
Okay then, all right then. We are Jerusalem children, and children of Jerusalem. Can we now then turn now and become Jerusalem's children and start to live like
that is what you're saying.
Yes, and we have never stopped being Jerusalem's children. We just need to seek out the knowledge and return to our place of abundance, claim the identity and move in it.
And move forward.
Remember, you know, it is promised to us that what? Kings and queens gonna bring things into our bosom. Them are gonna run down with the recompense, because at some point they must seek their own salvation.
Exactly.
So there will come the day, if I am moving in purpose and in full knowledge of who I am, the day will come when they have to chase me. That is how what is it? The goodness keeps running after you.
Not only you, you got
yeah,
all right.
That is it. That's promised to us.
But we have
and
to come to the realization. All right, my brother. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Morning. Thank you for having good morning to your listeners.
Good morning, sir.
Thanks for holding.
Marcus Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
I think Marcus Garvey had a place in St. Anne that the government
9 miles.
They take it over.
Yes, where the where the library and so on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, in St. Anne's Way.
A lady was living there, and I think the government offered her some money to take over the place and probably build something else for her. And it was causing a problem. You remember that?
I remember
it was
that.
In the paper.
Yeah.
It was recent, since this year, yeah.
Okay, right. So I think the government take it through the Jamaica Heritage Trust, which is an agency. Right?
Yes.
Anyway, it was Marcus Garvey's birthday, and I was watching on YouTube last night, live streaming, but there was a free concert in St. Anne. Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
Somewhere, it was a radio station, no down there.
IRI FM.
Right. They would put on a free concert, and I was watching the concert. Several artists came on. Bongo Herman, Anthony Cruz, Bushman, all of those positive entertainers were on. You know, Nesbitt, several of them. And it was during the time when Nesbitt was on. The police come and lock off the show.
Yes, the first caller, African, spoke about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I find it the fact that Marcus Garvey is a hero, and it was his birthday. In the first place, the government should at least sponsor or being a part of that program. You know, they find a way to take the house that Marcus Garvey, grew up in. But now this is his birthday, it was treated as if You know, it was just some ordinary little thing.
Noise making event, no special allowance. I'm thinking about it too because the first caller raised it. Now I do understand noise pollution and I understand following the requirements of your permit and so on and so forth. But it really does invite scrutiny that in an age when we do not exercise that discipline where events are concerned. And in fact, the guy was saying that it was only if fight broke out at some things that they would really move in and shut it down.
I was watching, it was very peaceful.
Yeah.
Very, very peaceful because the type of entertainers that were there is not the regular boogie type of lyrics.
Conscious music.
And I was looking and say, but Marcus Garvey's birthday should be celebrated. The fact that his status then.
Yes, our first national hero.
And at the same time, Sunfest was allowed to keep right back till the next day.
To the next day, yes. Well, I mean, that could also be based on the location too, because remember, depending on where you're having your event, the noise, the nuisance value of it may be different.
So it depends.
It depends on who you're disturbing.
And I'm assuming that they got a permit.
And the police may have been responding to a call. There may have been a complaint. So as we consider it, we have to be mindful of the other issues because we're about law and order. We are also about resistance. But we still have to be mindful that it has to be done in the right context for it to give you the desired results. We're getting the break. It's 9 a.m.
But at the same time, the government just use this opportunity to make Marcus Garvey's birthday become, a little celebration.
Yeah, because we did make it Marcus Garvey Day. His birth date is officially named after him. So there's more to be done.
Thanks for you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Right.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
If you choose to remain at home after an evacuation order has been issued, you do so at your own risk.
Get down, get down! Heed the warning!
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how we do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, caller. How are you today? What's on your mind?
And then again.
Morning, Wayne.
I'm talking about the teachers them now.
Yes, sir.
And welfare teachers going away. So if the whole system was really pressure into the teachers them and the classroom them overflowing with children, and if some teacher left the classroom, then you cannot imagine what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
They have to start share up some of the children them now when they have no teacher with some of the teachers them who remain. And for them classroom do not overflow with students and all the other uncomfortable situation that they have to be facing.
So you agree that it's a crisis?
Come again? No,
You agree that there is a crisis looming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who can teach them children a gravity order?
Yep.
And when the children them come more backward educationally, then a more crime that.
Yeah, socially.
Mm-hmm. So yes, it's a win a problem.
Yeah.
I think that goes without saying, Wayne. Yep. We're in problems.
We're in deep problem. You know. Anyway, bless up. Miss William, I love you.
I believe you. I believe you.
Take care of yourself. Master, bless up.
Yes, my brother.
You too. Let me tell you, maybe the social implications of that issue with the teachers, that's even greater than the loss of learning.
Okay.
I think so.
Elaborate.
I think children in school not getting the coverage that they need there's the technical loss of learning because they're not getting the skill in the technical area. No English, no math, whatever. But the pressure on the remaining teachers to maintain discipline, good behavior,
community,
and engagement is going to create, one, the teachers going to be under greater pressure, and those who are not able to maintain order in the school environment, the kids are going to go berserk. Then now, at the home level, where the parents not seeing, and you're having to be, because them not going to say, okay, because you only have 75% of the teachers, you only need to pay 75% of the school fee.
No, man. No.
I'm just saying, there's no prorating.
Yeah.
So you imagine you as a parent have to fork out to meet the full cost of an education that is not happening, and seeing your child come back frustrated or not getting. That's why I said the social side of it.
Implications.
That's why I make that point. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Sister Minetti and Brother
Percy. This sounds like Elaine.
How are you, Elaine?
Yes, it's me. We are good. We are good.
Yes, man. How you do? And what you have to tell us this morning?
All right. I need to ask you a question, Brother Percy and Sister Minetti.
Yes.
Who create all man, all people, all human beings?
We believe that there is a God, the Creator.
Yes.
Who himself was not created.
All right, listen now. So why you have this pastor brother every Sunday come on this station here
Okay.
You know, and about him as a teacher. And nobody mustn't come question him about Ray, because that's what the Bible says. You know, from when white man had turned in an idiot.
All right, so what is this teacher? What is this teacher teaching? What is it you pick up from this person? What is he saying?
He don't have no sense. He don't know what he's talking about.
So he does not believe that there is a creator of mankind?
Yeah, there's a creator, one, the Holy Father, the one and only.
No, I'm asking you if there is someone on this radio station who is saying otherwise. He's saying what? There is no creator of mankind?
No, he must say that. He must say.
Yeah.
What he is saying is like the Holy Father in create us, but yet still in separate us.
Oh, I see. Okay, something different. Okay, well.
You know how that can be in create us. And like he must say, over there, so is Israel better than we and our different set of people and all them kind of things there?
Oh, you know, Elaine, I can't comment on it because I don't know what him say.
Haven't heard it.
But what is it that is on your mind that is concerning in regard to what's happening in Jamaica at present?
What going in Jamaica?
Yes, what?
People, we're not thinking of ways how to get out of the situation what we is in, and it's very easy.
Okay.
All we have to come together.
Yes.
You understand? We have to come together. But without coming together, you understand? One or two persons can do this thing, you know.
Okay.
It's a together thing business.
So you're calling for unity and consensus for all of we?
Yeah, man. We separate too much, man. The white man, listen now, the white man took from all long. And some of we, where's the past of them? But them still trick them about the Bible, the things that were in the Bible. Let me tell you something. As I said before, I don't believe everything that the Bible says. It's all of the bad things that matter about the Father, them can't keep them things to themselves. Because the Father is not like that.
Okay.
The Father is of good. Look how he create this beautiful garden for us with everything in the garden that we know we need.
Okay.
And he put it here, you know. You understand? Man couldn't create this. Man no make nothing. Man come see everything. All we need to do, you know what? The Holy Father, they want to pray to him and them things there. All he want to do, but take care of the poor and give him thanks and praise.
To love.
But we need to start with him now.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, man. We
I'm in agreement with you. All right, Elaine. Thanks for remembering us.
Man, we need to start work with him now. We did it. It's a whole lot more now, but it's all right. Take care, yeah?
You too, my dear. Stay well.
All right, bye-bye, yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning.
You know, she said something significant, and I guess we have echoed it. Love God, love neighbor self, move forward in unity. And more people.
Sorry,
Good morning. Welcome. Yes, we're hearing you.
Welcome back.
Yes. I listen out to that radio show, you know.
Oh, the one that Elaine was talking about?
Yes. I haven't listened to them for months, and I go through great pain listening to them. And they say that only Israelites, which are black people, Negroes only they have salvation. Everybody else will be garbage in the eyes of the Lord. Slaves and servants of menial work and all that. So that's what they say. There's no salvation for others except Israel.
Have they read the book of Romans?
Oh, well.
They don't, anything they hear, what I've noticed, anything that they hear, they dismiss it and say, those people that those Gentiles are not Gentiles, they are Israel, is what they say.
Okay.
And yesterday, I actually called them and said, what about Naaman the Syrian?
Yes.
And he ran me away and said he used the name Nahum and says Nahum the Eshkolite. I remember those words. And he says what he's saying is Naaman is an Israelite. At the end of the day, Naaman is an Israelite.
Yeah, well, in the New Testament, there's a lot of teaching about the spiritual sons of Abraham. Which they apparently don't take into consideration that a door was opened for persons who were not Jewish, meaning not of Judah or the seed of Abraham. A door was opened for them to benefit from the same promises that cover those under the Abrahamic covenant. And most persons who focus a lot on the Old Testament don't bother to go into the New Testament and look at.
So therefore, they have discredited what Christ came and did and what He said.
Even though we have seen in the Old Testament, there were many foreigners.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Allowed in Israel.
Yes.
And were given the blessing alongside Israel.
Absolutely.
So from the beginning, we saw
it was so.
The Lord God Almighty did allow Gentiles even before the blood of Christ.
True.
Yeah,
even before the blood of Christ. But these men are they have their own agenda and they're evil and they enjoy doing what they're doing. And of course,
you
we
hear
as Jamaicans, we're just ignorant idiots to the people. Everybody can turn in an idiot.
And
when I ask questions, when I read, when I think.
But
of course, wait a minute now. Like when we went there, what happened to the youth them after today? Them now get teachers are going
because
away.
We're not. Yes, that's the sad reality. But you see, you are wise to the truth. So is Elaine, and therefore they may speak for a time, but those who have the ears to hear and the heart to seek out the truth will find it. This morning I was reading from 2 Chronicles about an occasion when Judah was at war against the Cushites. This is Asa, when Asa was king of Judah. And I read the line that said the Lord struck down the Cushites before Asa and Judah. The Cushites fled. And I'm like, Cushites, aren't those the black people? And I thought about that program, the guys that are always, talking. I said, but look at the Lord punishing the black people. Cushites are black people. I read it and they crossed my mind and said, well, I guess this is something that they probably would have some interesting way to explain why it is that the Lord is striking such a heavy blow against those which they are maintaining fall within the covenant. But, there are many philosophies out there. And
many philosophies. I'm just so I can cut. I have been reading the Bible for over 40 years, and it's just the other day I really grasped that it was the Egyptians were the world power. What America is today, the Egyptians were that. I want that people understand that they're the mind.
Yeah, but
black people, Negroes,
were
the power.
Yes. Yes.
In the Bible, that's what the Bible said. The Egyptians were the superpower.
At the time, and interestingly, there were Egyptians who were also black too. Some of them were black when you look at it. So.
Of course.
No. What I'm pastor, be real. And some of them black man was it. What do you mean? Egyptians were black people. Was they white? White people them
they were
Egyptian?
No,
man, get real, man. The black people and nigga them be.
Because you said
don't
some
you
of
know
them.
where my youth and nigga them be.
Yep.
But we have lost our power because of disobedience. Simple as that. Like every other people.
Yeah, and sometimes, and when you think...
The Chinese will be the ruler soon. The China never rule.
Okay.
Shem have a rule. Shem.
But we see the cycle.
A black man, nigga.
Yeah, we see the cycle of things.
Roman and people, the white people. No, Shem, Chinese.
Okay.
So let's be real, and that's the reality.
Can I say something to you?
I'm afraid.
No.
Nobody can come forward. No power on earth can come forward and say that the black man was not the first ruler of the earth. Egyptian was the first ruler of the earth. No power can come and say otherwise.
But we understand that, my brother. but there's a cycle that runs, and then ultimately we come back to one race.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah, we know about the one race thing, you know. Of course we know about that. We're not against that. We're not talking about the reality of the physicality of what happens in our humanity.
Yeah, understand.
Yes. Now, we know love. We know all those things.
Right.
And with
all
it, there are some
who have
things.
the mind of Christ
Yes.
will be saved. It's not the race about the saved, but the mind of Christ. The mind.
Yeah.
The incarnate one.
All right.
Yeah.
But you know, it's interesting that you have spelled it out the way you have, because many of us don't appreciate that it's a cycle. That's why you can rest in on nothing new under the sun. Each man have his day. And you now want to know that to break the cycle of oppression and cruelty and harm, you have to get back to that place of love where you're not just waiting your turn with the sword.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. Yeah. We need to take that into consideration. That is why Christ had to come and to say, this is how the Father, with all of the things you have done, this is what he wants us to operate one with each other.
Yes, and his blood welcomes us all in.
Amen,
All of
brother.
us,
Amen.
yeah. Yes,
Amen.
man.
Amen. Amen.
And that the people who hate God must realize.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people hate God, you know.
Yeah,
I know them personally too.
All right.
I mean, hear them, I'm listening to them.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Just a very short one.
Yes.
Yeah, the same program with them call and that about.
Yes.
And come and call them too, you know, because I never hear people say things. I mean, we call them all a reasoning, you know?
Yes.
But I would say, though, people don't make them trouble, you know? I think them talk a lot of stupidness and foolishness more time, you know? But me will talk and call and talk in what me have to say, you know?
But it's necessary. It's necessary for you, and I appreciate. I applaud both you and the caller just now for taking a stand. An important part of freedom is to take a stand for what you believe in. Don't just let people, you know. I mean, you're judicious in how you do it, but there is a necessity for us to talk up, stand up for what we believe in. That is a part of the freedom that Christ has given us, and that's a part of the freedom. For me, that's probably the best part of the freedom, that I have a voice and I don't have to put up with things that I know to be inconsistent with the love of God. Obviously, you have to be careful, because you don't want your voice to create greater chaos. That's why it's necessary to choose when you intervene and how you intervene. Always to try to focus on the problem that you're solving, so you don't become part of the noise.
Sure, and remain very respectful.
Yes.
You know, because you can't lose your way because people are talk, you know, foolish.
Right, because all they need to do is draw you out, you know.
Humble.
All they need to do is draw you out and cause you to lose position. They're not in the game to be educated and to be converted.
Yeah.
So you have got to look past that and speak for the greater freedom of those who may be listening.
Yeah.
With the Marcus Garvey thing there on RFM ground yesterday, we all know, because we look on history, these people in honor nobody will really come and deal with truth and justice. Although you hear them talk, they're only pretending to make themselves look good. You know? So don't be surprised if you see them try hold on the thing and try to make it like them to make it, you know?
Wayne, you have to keep in your contemplation. It's very easy sometimes to look past what's right in front of you and be looking at the leadership at the top and saying, well, they're taking their cue. But we fight for the redemption of the individual, the little man who is in the decision-making position at the given moment. If you, as a policeman, receive a call that there is a party going on that has passed the hour of the permit and it is causing a disturbance, every policeman who's going out have a certain discretion. He can go, he can talk to the persons who are organizing the thing and say, all right, turn it down, or whatever, you have half an hour more, whatever, they have discretion. And that's the person whom we now need to focus on the trees and don't be distracted by the forest, because each person who have a decision to make in that moment in time is a point that you can press. It's not the minister or the white man or anybody who go and lock them off. It's somebody in the local precinct, me call it that, who would have shown up. And it's no doubt somebody who look like Marcus Garvey. And if you go and you hear that this is a celebration for Marcus Garvey and you have got a complaint that it's too noisy, you can always take a variety of decisions. And I speak to that person.
Mm-hmm. Because on the ground, you see, like, oh, look at, it's a simple thing. A policeman stops you and says you have contravened the law.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a delegated authority. At that time, he can says, okay, sir, I can...
He can let you go with a warning.
Or he can...
throw the book at you. And maybe even arrest you and have them haul away your car.
Yes.
Always the man on the spot have power. Power. We need to know the authority that we have and walk in it fearlessly and with love.
Yeah. And then a lot of people have said to us, and I speak frankly, a lot of policemen have said, we do differently, but we get orders. Some of the time orders, and they don't want to look bad, but again, they can say, because I'm taking responsibility. So I took this decision because of all of the other considerations. So let us not lose sight of that here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yeah, bless up.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Hey, welcome.
Hello,
Papa.
my friend. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Pastor.
Yes, my friend.
Is not everybody know the meaning of what you call it again? Pronounce it for me again.
Consensus.
That mean breaking the law.
Oh no, contravened.
Contravene the law.
Contravene. Breaking the law.
What that mean? Yes, I told me have common sense, make me understand, but a lot of people don't know what it means. Why you never just break the law?
So you could call and...
No, seriously, this is a serious thing. A lot of time, both you and Miss Minute speak some words that people like me have to go for my dictionary, because I left school from 73, I don't remember some of them or something there.
All right.
And that is a great thing.
Listen, so
that is a great thing.
Sometime,
Yeah, you're right, sometimes we could. But I love it that you are so interested in what you're hearing that it pushes you to bring out the dictionary. We've got to get our people into that mode of seeking out knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So that people don't talk over them or talk beyond their understanding.
Pastor, I'm almost sure say me can write a better letter than you if me have my dictionary. But me don't really have time for that, because I'm used to good from that at school. So I don't like you well. Not only you, Pastor, Miss Minute too, Papa. Pastor, me think say me I fight him all the time. So.
Well, you know what? Miss Minute love a challenge.
University, but
Miss Minute love a writing challenge. Love a writing challenge.
And my friend, me would advise to take her on the writing challenge.
When I meet you, we're going to have a writing challenge.
No. Look here.
Yes.
I bought a typewriter in Canada in the 90s to write my life story, but I just don't have the time to do it.
Well, I tell you, you still have the typewriter.
You still have to do it. You don't have to use typewriter.
The old time one on the ribbon, them rotten something and them can't get it to buy.
I know there might be a museum that will take it off your hands.
No, but
man,
you can write your own life story, because
if me decide, me not think you can write outright me.
All right.
Well, it depends on the subject matter.
Me beat the girls in my school. I still have that capacity, but the work I do, me don't need to do English and those things.
I celebrate you.
Okay.
Party ideas. So me know.
All right, sir. Me sure that's not why you call me though.
No.
Tell us.
May I have some unfinished business, but not this morning.
Okay.
Where you say why people leave Africa and run away. If we have the channel like those people who would run away to US, you know.
Oh, I was talking about, but I want the browning of Europe. Listen, man, they must run away and go bring Europe into submission.
Which is what the Muslims are doing.
Perhaps you misunderstood you misunderstood what I was saying.
The other thing we want to talk about, IRFM put on a free thing yesterday, I think.
Yes.
They didn't pay the police enough money. That's why they locked them down. I mean, a high talk.
I mean, they never paid the police.
So why
they
didn't
got a
you
permit.
why didn't you pay the police enough money? 'Cause it sounds like you were a part of it. Why didn't you pay the toll?
I said a lot of dance keep even
Yeah,
in my
but
ear.
when you speak,
pass the time and police have come the country.
When you speak so authoritatively, with
Just let
such
us pay the toll
confidence
for the people.
and certainty, it sounds like you did a pay the toll and you shot it.
No, but me know that happened.
Yeah, well,
And
you
not-
know, we
not-
can apply.
Not only that,
Yes.
you see that thing yesterday that I listened on IRFM?
Mm-hmm.
It should be broadcast on national TV so everybody could hear.
it.
Which one? The one with Dr. David Mohammed? That one?
Everything, every one of the speakers.
The entire show, he
But
said.
especially the man from Barbados.
But you know, I'm sure it's on YouTube and
It was on TV yesterday. I can't. Yeah.
Oh, it was on TV
Most
yesterday.
Jamaicans don't do those things on YouTube, especially young people. They do a play game and pull on other idiots. Trust me, majority of people don't know what's going on in the country
Which okay? Help me here.
because of the internet. TV, free ear TV are the thing. That's why when election around, the politician them choose the time before news or little after news. They advertise and stuff. And there's so the majority of poor people listen and hear. I think IRFM needs to get their own TV station and me will donate 50% of my last money to it.
Okay, but what I was asking you, there are a couple of speakers because I caught a part of it on Gale channel. That's the one that came on thing. Which one of the speakers? There was a Dr. David Mohammed who spoke about how they divide us and was talking about what was happening. Who else you caught as you listened?
I cannot remember their names, but there was this man. He was in the government from Barbados. I don't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this guy that was on a football, and I think it was I don't remember if the Barbados football team may have something to do with it or something like that. But I don't remember most of the names. But
Okay, but you say the entire program was worthwhile. I'll hunt it down because I didn't catch any of it.
Not even a piece.
Not even a minute of it. I didn't know it was taking place. I don't know all things, no matter how it seems.
I really don't want to know, Miss Minute.
No, man, you can't say that. I pursue knowledge.
Yeah, but it was good.
So you couldn't call me and tell me, say, Miss Minute, something good have gone on Irie. That's how we share knowledge, You notice anything we know that is good, me try share it. But
anyway,
Garvey TV that I've now learned about will be carrying all kinds of things that will be of great interest to the development of black thinking. And
what I need,
and we need to find it.
Is that I need, like IRFM, to have a TV station where the entire island can see and watch and listen.
Well, I'm sure they have a similar ambition and it will come to pass. But even
Remember, IRFM make reggae big in this country,
Yeah, we know.
IRFM Promote was the first reggae radio station. Me remember when the other station used to play mostly white music. Yes, they used to play special R&B until IRFM come start playing reggae. Then the rest of station start and IRFM bust a lot of Rasta musicians. Remember when they when IRFM played in cassette, and enough of them bust and them then turn them back, then they might help out and now he might donate anything. Come here, listen. The first time
we get the signal. My brother, we blow past the 7:30 break, so we got to take a station break now. 9:30.
I don't know. I was catching for the break. Right.
No, because you call at that time. It's not my fault.
All right.
We got to take our break. Take care. Bye.
You're listening to Best
100 people. Are you listening?
If you choose to remain at home after an evacuation order has been issued, you do so at your own risk.
Get down!
Heed the warning.
What should a taxi service do for you? On On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town.
And the best taxi service.
They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
Need a cab from anywhere at all. You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, at 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try calling because trust me.
Winter Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Sir, welcome back. Is there a caller on the line? Because,
yeah.
Okay.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yes, morning, Pastor. Morning, Miss Minnie. I want to make my contribution.
Go ahead.
Based on the conversation you had with two callers concerning a program that is aired.
Israel United or something like that.
Yes, some Hebrew program that is aired on Sunday. Now, I used to listen to that program, and I called the host, I think, 1 or 2 times, and I asked him the question: is it that the God that he's talking about is a God that only saves, or he only focus on one race of people? And he said yes.
Wow. He actually said yes to that?
Yes, he said yes. He said that the God that he's talking about is only for the
Israelites.
And it's not all African persons
Are Israelites.
are Israelites, according to him. He's saying that if you are a Cushite, you are not, and the God that he's talking about only come to save. He used that word, save. Only come to save the Israelites, persons who are in our island and other Caribbean islands and in the Americas. But those that are in Africa and in other places, that God don't don't business with them. And if you're white, God don't business with you. If you're an Indian or a Chinese, no, that kind of narrative kind of sound like some hate argument, some hate racist kind of argument.
Yeah.
Don't say the difference with that argument from the KKK argument.
And the supremacists, right, sir?
But you have to give them credit for being very clear on the exclusionary characteristics of the God of whom they speak.
That's right.
So,
no, yes, what I take from the gospel, based on my understanding, I mean, I admit Jesus Christ came as a black man, but his color doesn't matter. You know, what really mattered was his teaching. And his teaching was universal. It was for black, white, red, yellow. Despite, because he had to come in a color. He come as a human being, whether he came as a black man, a white man, a Chinese, or an Indian, it doesn't matter. But it was what was coming out of his mouth. You know, and that is where a lot of persons lose direction.
Them lose the plot. Them lose the plot, my brother. Them lose the plot.
That's right. They are focusing on the color of the man, how he dress. His dress and his color has to do with where he
context. Yeah, man.
And his culture. But what is he teaching? And that is where we must focus. You know, and so I would say to most listeners, don't waste time listening to those evil people with them hate.
Or be distracted by it. It's one thing that you've heard it, but don't be distracted by it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. When you look at the gospel, everything about Christ is counterintuitive. He could have been born in a palace. He chose to be born in some very ordinary place. He could have been born as any color person. He came in a particular cultural context. He could have, put together an army and used the sword to accomplish what he wanted to do. He spoke love, and he had a small...
counterintuitive, yeah.
Everything about him is counterintuitive to tell you that he is not to be understood, interpreted, or followed in the way of the world, because man by himself take a certain approach. If you get some money, you want to use it to do every fancy thing that can indulge yourself. Is there a man who can get some money and decide to just walk the streets and try to be a blessing to other persons, who is prepared to empty himself in order to build up others?
That's right.
If you decide that Christ is a choice you want to make, then that is your pattern, that is the mandate, that's how you need to move. And if you're not prepared to make the sacrifice for that.
Yeah. And brother, Paul, who was the apostle to the Gentiles, he was a Jew, but he was the apostle to the Gentiles. If you read Romans 10 from about 18, he speaks to it very candidly and straightforward. It says he came to Israel, but they refused him, and God prophesied before that it would happen, that it would open the door that everybody could come in. So if you read Romans 10 from about 18 to the end, it clearly states the argument. That's why I'm saying, have those guys read the book of Romans? Because they clearly don't understand the plot and what God was saying.
Them read it, Pastor.
Yeah, man, but them not read it.
I have heard persons quiz them on the New Testament, but they will draw out points, teaching that God was speaking only to Israel.
No, sir.
That's their level of revelation. When people are stuck at a place like that, you pray for them and you make sure you're teaching your children and those who are willing to learn, you just make sure you're teaching them the right thing.
And my final argument to him was that, my last conversation with him was that if his God is a God that only comes for Israel and do business with no other race, then I don't want that God.
Okay.
I want a God who is universal.
Well, Israel should be worried.
Exactly.
Because their God can treat them very roughly.
Treat them rough.
It treat them very rough.
Rough.
Yes, that's all like a KKK God.
All right, my brother. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Yes.
Morning.
Welcome.
Morning, love and bless.
Hello, African. You come again.
DK operator faces to squad the sexual grooming charge. Sexual grooming, what that?
It's when you you are preparing a child for abuse, and you extend kindness and you treat them nice and gentle so they can trust you. You're building up a relationship of trust. You haven't actually done anything sexual to them yet, but you're preparing them, you're grooming them. You know how you would brush a dog's hair and pet him and so on, so that him or her, the producer is reminding me, get used to you and begin to trust you, and the only intention you have is to abuse them. Where is that, in Jamaica? That's a headline you read from Jamaican report?
Yes, Miss Minetti.
Yes.
Sexual performance enhancement tablet. Ever hear about that?
I have, yes.
That him I use, this somebody I use because them talk away, you know.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
It come out in August, the paper August 5th.
Okay.
So what caused you to call us on it this morning now? What came into your thoughts?
I don't hear nobody talk about it, Miss Minetti.
Yeah, I hadn't even seen it.
So with children, them in trouble, Miss Minetti,
yes.
you know, so
Yes, our children are in trouble. And earlier I was saying to Pastor that this teacher migration issue, the social implications of it are grave, because just imagine now, you don't have enough teachers to cover the children. You imagine the kind of, non-educational type activities that they are going to fall prey to. And every kind of predator can now see and have an opportunity to have access to your children, because one, if they're not being covered well at school and home don't have the capacity to manage, then the kind of people who groom children for abuse have a field day if you're not careful. So we all of us have to be on guard.
Yeah.
Miss Minetti.
Yes.
What we are dealing?
It's serious, brother. It is a.
Miss Minetti, we can't let this find you, them,
No, sir.
No.
And so that's why there is a call that goes out to all of us, all well-thinking, honest, decent Jamaicans. We have to go back to the concept of the village raising the child. Everybody now must become responsible for our children. Not only saying that because they are our future, they are now, and some of the abuse that happen now affect them long time afterwards, and we have to deal with it right now.
Yeah. Dr. Garvey, our national hero's son, was making the point, pointing out a difference between communism and communalism, saying that communism as a political ideology was not the tradition from which people of African descent come. Ours is communalism, where the village raised the child, where we share resources and we understand that the different generations have their role to play in preparing the children for the future. We are back there, we just not realize it yet, and we don't have the tools to do a good job of it. But that's where we are. Mm-hmm. We're back to bartering, because can you imagine what Malvern was saying there now? The crops and the field need to be addressed, but the people who would pay for it can't get access to the money. People going to have a decision to make. Are we going to step back and say, well, wait till she can pay, or are we going to put our hands to the wheel and become a part of it? We have to find other ways to keep work and life going when the systems to which we have become accustomed fail or malperform.
Or just decides it becomes stone-faced in the reality of the people's concerns. I think becomes interesting.
So the system now defend literacy.
We have to everybody have to decide, and after we decide.
Love and bless.
Yes.
Love and bless.
Yes.
Yeah, man. All right.
We need a 14 parish demonstration,
Yeah.
All island. Yes.
The school. What the school are dealing with the youth are they the youth on the panel?
Yes, but they're coming back. Our orientation begins this week for a lot of schools.
But it's like holiday won't end, because if you go to school and there are not enough teachers to cover you, in a manner of speaking, you're still on holiday.
Yeah.
So the learning loss is going to be acute.
2 years.
And coming so soon after the pandemic.
This minute, 2 years, the school lockdown final.
Yeah.
Them people are not interested in literacy, Miss Minetti.
Yep.
Miss Minetti, we need a demonstration at the 14th parish of Jamaica. that we are dealing right now, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Black Jamaica people rise up in a car, you say, wait and wait and wait any longer. We're going to lose everything we have.
True.
So we are come back in a slavery. Because for you not teaching you them because you're a slave, you want to come tell you now.
Wow.
Miss Minetti, love and bless, good to be here, yeah?
Okay,
All right,
then.
my brother.
As we have any more calls? No. Okay, so we can proceed to close cuts there.
That time.
Yeah. On the chat, there's been a very interesting conversation that's happening in the diaspora. Taki says, teachers leaving Jamaica must embrace themselves for the cultural realities in the US despite the smell of the honey. So ironic. There are many teachers here existing in the system too. All the best to them in their endeavors and encounter new opportunities with sometimes equal challenges from whence they came. Thank you, Taki. He says the realities are teachers in the East, like Japan, China, are so well respected, not exactly so in the US in particular. Therefore, I wish them the best in facing such realities. Wow. And then Patrick, always been online, says some parents use the school as a glorified daycare center. Yeah.
And he's right. He agrees that some of the teachers know what they're going to encounter in the US, but they're taking the chance same way because of the abuse that they encounter here.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that you can be treated so bad in your own country that you'll take the same thing from a stranger.
Yeah. And so the truth is, Minette, there are some real challenges that face us. And whether we like it or not, there is a crisis in education following upon what has happened with the lockdown that happened for the 2 years. And we must do what we believe is necessary. As you always say, take responsibility. What it is that Percy, what is it that Minette can do within our school, within our community to help to ameliorate the situation, help to move it forward. But then there's a role that our policymakers, which is the government, has to take in terms of what are we going to do, bringing everybody together. Because it's a real crisis.
Yeah.
It's a real
hands on deck.
All hands on deck.
All right, let's say our thank yous. I'm busy packing up. Some of it can be seen. Thank you to the listeners and the callers. Your voice is, I would say, 80% of this program.
Yes.
And I put it that high, and maybe it could even be higher, depending on what you say when you call. It's because it's good for listeners to know that they're not alone in their thoughts on certain matters, and we give strength to each other when we can share views and refine one another's views, you know? I may not have all of the information in my one way of thinking, but a brother or a sister can add something to it. And that is the value of and the beauty of consensus. So, you know, we really thank those who take the time to express their views and carry the conversation forward. To those who are online, as Percy said, in the diaspora, putting in your 2 cents worth, I think you know that Jamaica is looking, just as Africa ought to look to her diaspora, Jamaica is looking to hers for valuable contribution and for support. So thank you for what you give us on this program. Have a great day, everyone. Team in studio, thank you very much.
And for our producer who came in today with some very valuable insights, greed, and
timely insertions, fear and greed. Fair and greed. Fair and greed.
That no bucket too.
Yes.
God is with you today.
Yes.